98.1 Gameday is on.
Presented by Super Chevy. See your Super Chevy dealers of Baton Rouge.
This is LSU football.
Daniels up the middle of the field, sidesteps a defender at about the 40-yard line. Now he's free. Near side, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Here's the snap, shovel pass going to Thomas. Lead block by Williams. Thomas to the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
LSU football on Eagle 98.1, the flagship home of the Tigers. Tonight from Tiger Stadium, it's the LSU Tigers
And the Georgia State Panthers.
Now,
Here's Charles Hannegriff and Matt Musso.
Rouse's Market, Burbank at Lee. Welcome to Eagle 98.1 Game Day. I'm Charles Hannegriff along with Matt Musso and our entire staff as we walk you up to the kickoff of tonight's game between the LSU Tigers and the Georgia Panthers. LSU comes in with a record of 7-3 overall, and of course this is a non-conference game, the last non-conference game of the regular season. Last week LSU beat Florida by a score of 52-35. It continued an offensive onslaught that started way back at the Arkansas game when they scored 34 points, then 49 against Ole Miss, 49 against Missouri, 48 against Auburn, 62 against Army, 28 against Alabama when Jaden Daniels had to leave the game early, and 52 against the Gators. It's an offensive onslaught that has put Jaden Daniels squarely right in the middle of the Heisman Trophy race, the one big piece of intrigue that remains in this regular season. Georgia State comes in with a record of 6-4. They got off to a 6-1 start, but have fallen on hard times the last 3 weeks, having lost 3 straight to Georgia Southern, James Madison, and Appalachian State, giving over just a little bit over 42 points on average in those 3 games. As matchups go, this is not the team you want to see if you are struggling on defense going into Tiger Stadium. LSU is a massive favorite in this game. There are some games that as soon as the schedule is put out, you circle them and begin the countdown. This is not one of those games. LSU is playing Georgia State largely for financial reasons. Big schools will tell you that these games are necessary for financial stability. Some small schools will tell you that they are necessary for financial survival. For some young players, it's a chance to get some playing time that they ordinarily might not get. And for some players, the opportunity to play in venues that they ordinarily might not see. For the rest of us, this is just a mismatch and a game that you sort of have to eat your vegetables before you get to the main course. Well, so I'm not going to try to overhype a game that is so clearly a mismatch on paper. But the intrigue here is what happens with Daniels. Certainly there's some team goals, and they want to get to 10 wins, and I get all that next week's senior day, and we'll get to that when we get there. This one you just got to kind of get through. But for Daniels, there's a very, very strong chance that he's going to be in New York, I'm convinced of that, but that he can win LSU's 3rd Heisman Trophy in the history of the program, and that would be a significant piece of history.
Oh, no, I mean, that is what you're looking for. That is the intrigue. Playoffs gone. SEC Championship's gone. Heisman Trophy, and that's huge. It's huge for a lot of reasons. You mentioned the 3rd in program history. What does that do for recruiting, things of that nature? How long are they going to let him play tonight? I think that's something that's going to be very interesting because you don't want to – you don't want to embarrass the team out there, but he does need to stat pad because – Michael Penix and Bo Nix, they're going to have that stage that he will not later in the season. And I'll tell you, too, Hanny, Malik Neighbors chasing Josh Reed's record for the all-time receiving yards. That adds another level of intrigue. It's the records that people want to see here down the stretch.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, not on all of this factual stuff that you point out there about the records, but on the fact that he needs to stat pad. In fact, I would go out of the way to not stat pad. I believe that Brian Kelly will play this game straight up. He will play Jaden Daniels as long as he feels like he needs to play Jaden Daniels and not a play more. I don't think he'll play him any less. I don't think he'll play him any more, nor do I think he should. Records that are manufactured or stat padded or whatever, to me, kind of cheapens it. Jaden Daniels has done enough with significant and relevant statistics to win the Heisman Trophy. And if he does, he does. And if anybody doesn't vote for him because he got 280 yards instead of 340 yards against Georgia State, then shame on that voter. And I'm not telling you that doesn't happen. It's certainly a possibility. But there is almost no fat in the statistical byline of Jaden Daniels this year. LSU has needed him pretty much every step of the way. Maybe a late drive against Mississippi State, maybe a late drive against Auburn, but everything. He didn't play in the second half against against Army. Played very little in the second half against Grambling. There is nothing but meat on the bone. There is no fluff in these stats, and I think they should keep it that way. I think that he should play this game straight up. They get up 3-4 touchdowns in the second half, you pull him, and you get your reserves in. But the idea that he needs to go for an extra 60 or 70 yards on one more drive, I don't agree with. I realize I may be wrong. There may be Heisman voters out there that look at this and say, well, he had 4,300 yards instead of 4,200 yards. To me, those people shouldn't vote. But that's me.
That's a whole other conversation.
So I would play this game straight up, and I believe that's the way that Brian Kelly will play this game where Jaden Daniels is concerned. But we'll see. Sometimes these games don't go exactly as you plan. Georgia State at one time earlier in this season was starting to look like they would be a sticky wicket in November when they were 6-1. Like I said, the last 3 weeks they've sort of fallen on hard times. We're ready to go here at Rouse's. We invite you to come by, get all of your tailgating supplies, and get ready for the holidays, as this is Thanksgiving week, of course, here. We'll be telling you about all of the great deals going on here at Rouse's. This is Eagle, 98.1 Game Day.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session.
Offense. Presented by Gulf Coast Bank. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Now, here's Charles Hannegriff. And from the LSU Sports Radio Network, Gordy Rush.
Our Bears countdown to kickoff a little under 5 hours now here at Rouse's, just off the LSU campus. Gordy Rush will be on the sideline tonight. You know, Gordy, as November games go for you sideline types, this is about as good a weather as you could ask for, man. You're living right today, huh?
You know, we dodged a lot of bad weather this year. I think having some of those road trips earlier in the season, you know, it was nice in Starkville and Missouri was cool, and even Ole Miss was, and all this has been manageable. We haven't had the hot weather, and then not having Arkansas in November and that 20 to 30, degree temperature on a lovely night in Fayetteville. We dodged all those bullets this year.
I tell you what, if Florida stays on the schedule in November when you're going down to Gainesville, Gainesville's a lot better than Fayetteville in November. You've been on the phone with the league office. Gordy, I'm not going to sit here and X and O with you about LSU against Georgia State. I'm just going to ask you what LSU hopes to accomplish in this game besides a win and get out with an injury, without any injuries. The one player I am intrigued about tonight is Caleb Jackson, and potentially some increased playing time there. We don't expect to see Logan Diggs, and we know John Emery is out for the season. So if there's an opportunity for the freshman to get maybe his most extensive playing time since, I think, the Grambling game, tonight might be it.
Yeah, and I think the bread and butter of this offense, and I think two concepts that certainly that they have run the last couple of weeks. The modern day triple option, that's when they put a receiver, whether it's Neighbors or Thomas, in motion, and they're faking the ball. You have the option to run the jet or run the zone read and give the ball inside to the running back, where Daniels has kept it, right, as a kind of off tackle, if you will, and it's been really, really effective, and it's been tough to diagnose for defenses to stop. And I think that concept and getting Jackson some reps in that one, and then when they've gone, 4 wide and actually flexed out Taylor, last couple of weeks they've utilized the running back and they've kept him in pass protection on some plays when people have played zone, and then it's a gradual release. And one or two things have happened. One, they've dumped it off to the running back, and we've seen Kane catch a touchdown. I think Josh Williams had one in the last couple of weeks. Or they've used it as a decoy where they let everybody back off and play coverage, and they fake the running back release, and Daniels takes off and leaves where the linebacker once was. And, I mean, these two concepts, they've been crushing people the last couple of weeks with that. So can you get Jackson comfortable in the things that you've been doing well?
Gordy, the talk around the week, of course, has been around Jaden Daniels and his Heisman Trophy candidacy, and Brian Kelly answered the question on Monday. But what school do you subscribe to that this game could include a little bit of extra stats for him, or that LSU plays this thing straight up and lets the numbers fall where they may, because Daniels has largely already made his case?
Well, I don't think he wins. I don't think he wins the thing tonight, right? I think that going into the game, in my head, there's probably some numbers you would like to get to, right? And at that point, I don't think it matters. Name it, 400 yards of total offense or whatever it is. I don't think if you do 700 tonight against Georgia State, it moves the needle too much. It's all going to be next week and being on that stage, and of course. All you can worry about is what you can control. You don't know what's going to happen with Washington, Oregon State. They've got a Pac-12 championship, or whatever people think about Ohio State. I think you got to get to a certain number tonight, and over it really doesn't matter that much because it's Georgia State, and it's going to come down the next week.
Yeah, that's a good point. While I say tonight really doesn't make the case, he can't go out there and throw for 140 yards and turn the ball over 3 times.
Right?
Yeah, he's just got to do what he's got to do to keep the number reasonable. When you look at his overall season, Gordy, some of the people that are seeing him for the first time or seeing him for the first time since Florida State, you've had a bird's eye view of everything that this young man has done, from the preparation to the game management to the explosive plays. He's got more than anybody in the country. He just has come so far and looks so good. I'm just wondering if there's an anecdote or two maybe that you've got about him that, you might not know if you weren't on the sideline with him, or some things that you've observed in this season for Daniels.
Well, I could tell you what I laugh about because I'm down there on the sideline. Is every time he gets about the 10 or 15-yard line, is about to score, and he just breaks open with a smile. I mean, this is about as cool a customer that you've seen. I go back to that first game against Florida State in the Superdome last year, where he was glimpsing at the receiver and running for his life, and he just saw so much anxiety out there, and he's come so far to the point now that he pre-snap knows what he's looking for. I think what also has changed, you have two incredible wide receivers, and I think one of the things I would tell you, Charlie, if you wanted to impress voters, I'd send them the wide cut film and see the amount of different coverages people have thrown, all the different defenses people have thrown at Jaden Daniels trying to find a way to defend him. This was similar to stuff we saw in 2019. And what his recognition pre-snap has been unbelievable. And what I've enjoyed last week against Florida, Florida was running a lot of exotic blitz packages. They got him a couple of times, but they were going to die the fast death, and they died the fast death. And then there are times in which people have, decided to play double brackets. They've double covered Thomas and Neighbors on the same play, and he just sits back there and pats the football, knowing that he's going to continuously, for every time he pats it, there's 3 more yards the defenders keep dropping. And all he's doing is creating more running space for him. And, we've come so far from New Orleans. To me, having digested all that and seen that in person, I think it speaks wonders of how hard this kid has worked. And then secondly, what I would tell you, he's done this against some pretty darn good defenses. This is not the best SEC. It's probably the worst SEC I've seen in 10 years, but they still have better defenses than what's out there. And I don't think that's given enough respect.
Mike Lombardi, we had on the show, is a tremendous evaluator for the NFL, said, I don't want to watch his film against Army or Grambling. I want to watch the Alabama film 3 times or 5 times or whatever. And that, to me, Gordy, is what is so impressive about his season. He takes a burden out there every time because of the defensive liabilities that no other player in the country, save maybe Caleb Williams, takes out there. And I know people say, well, Michael Penix too, but Washington's defense won a game for him this year against Arizona State. They won a game without scoring an offensive touchdown. LSU cannot win a game without scoring an offensive touchdown against anybody. I feel very confident in that prediction. So it's just him and, like I said, Williams, I guess. So there is no – to me, if I can make Daniels' case, there's no padded stats, there's no fat, there's no fluff, there's nothing manufactured. He's just played, and it's my preference that continues today and that he's not into the game deep into the fourth quarter trying to get some voter in, I don't know, Wyoming to say, oh, well, he had 410 yards against 300 instead of 370 yards. Maybe I should vote for him now. That's not where I'm at. This kid has earned it. If he wins it, he wins it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I'm not playing games here today to try and manipulate an uninformed voter. I just wouldn't.
Nobody's going to watch this game. The highlight reel, if he does something incredible, that's all it's going to be. Think about this. What are we looking at with Texas A&M, Abilene Christian? We're going to look at the box score. Who's the quarterback? What was that? But nobody really cares about that game, and nobody's going to care unless he, does a backflip or runs 100 yards. And that's the only way that this is going to make ESPN's film. And so I think, again, there's hey, we're going to try to get to these numbers at this point, pull the plug. Let's see Nussmeier a little bit and get on down the road. Look, I that I do. I think I do like a ton of talks in August, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody asked me. I knew Daniels was much more accurate. I knew he was better. We saw him in the spring. I talked to some people. Spent the time in California. I didn't know he was this level. 1 and 2. People would say, "Hey, do you think he has a chance at the Heisman?" I was like, "Absolutely not," because defensively, the SEC is too good. You're not in track meets like the Pac-12 or the Big 12, and I was dead wrong. They are in track meets, and sometimes, you've got to be, in this day and age, you've got to put up those stats. You need to maybe have a bad defense, and now we know about Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, and we could Marcus Mariota and go all these people that were part of these Robert Griffin, and they were terrible on defense. Nobody remembers that. They remember them winning 57-52 because that's the nature of the ball. And I just think this is rare that this is as bad as we've seen, LSU struggle on defense. But I think it's come at the right time statistically for Jaden Daniels. Unfortunately, this is a team that if with a normal defense would have had a chance to be in the national championship conversation.
I think you're underselling that A&M Abilene Christian film. I think when they introduce the new guy, they're going to have this on in the background. They're going to say, we're building on this and we're moving forward.
They might leave out the pick six to start the game, but
that's
how the game started, yeah.
See,
yeah,
I wasn't watching. We'll take a break here at Rouse's. Come on by for all your tailgating needs, all your holiday supplies here at Rouse's corner of Burbank and Lee. Back with more with Gordy Rush, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day, Skull Session, Defense. Presented by Edward Jones, making sense of investments. Now here's Charles Hannegriff, and from the LSU Sports Radio Network, Gordy Rush.
I want to get you updated on a score here. Michigan leads Maryland 29-24 with 6.5 minutes to go, but Maryland has the football. They've got an opportunity here to do America a favor. They got to go 90 yards, but they've got 6.5 minutes to go. They've got all 3 of their timeouts left, and they just got sacked. But they do have an opportunity here, and I told Musa this before we started the show, Gordy. I don't have any action on this game. We didn't pick this game. I have no allegiance towards the University of Maryland one way or the other. But I'm rooting against Michigan. I've had enough of their act, the hissy fit that they pitched all week about we're going to have our day in court and we didn't do it until they were presented with overwhelming evidence and said, oh, yeah, well, okay. I'm rooting against them. That's just me. I'm petty that way sometimes, Gordy. So I just thought I'd give you an update, and I'm pulling for Maryland, even though they're looking at 3rd and 18 right now.
Look, if Musso was dressed up in a Central Michigan outfit and on their bench and is caught on TV cameras, right?
Yeah.
With glasses that Chris Farley would wear in the Bears skit on Saturday Night Live. I mean, I'm done. I'm stopping the fight right there.
Right.
If that's Musso in a Chippewa outfit, I'm done. And okay, you got me. I'm going to suspend this. Let's do something else. Let Mario take my spot on the breakdown here on the X's and O's on the pregame. I'm done. How do you fight that?
I simply would just not get caught. I think that would be my goal. That'd be my goal, is to just not get caught.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could have dressed you up as the media person. We could have dressed you up as the Big Ten. We could have made you a mascot, right? I mean,
that's an idea.
You could be the little Shoney's guy, the big boy. I mean, we could have dressed you up as the big boy, not the Central Michigan coach and put you on the sideline. How asinine is that with a camera all over the place?
I just think of Bobby Valentine after he got thrown out of the game as the Mets manager, and he took the eye black and painted a mustache on, went back in the dugout. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that. All right, Gordy, the defense. Look. There's 2 games left here. I don't know how much more, and Michigan gets an interception here, by the way. I don't know how much more can be accomplished between now and the end of the season, and then they're going to have to take a long, hard look at this, in the offseason from a personnel, coaching, schematic standpoint. I mean, you got to go A to Z. But for the last 2 weeks, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, I think the young corners need to continue to get better. They wound up even playing some bump and run. They played some man free, which was crazy to think that you had that personnel and you were getting after them in the second half, and you got a couple stops. Going back last week, Florida went a lot of tempo. They ran that same triple option type of offense. A couple things happened. Number one, they picked on Toviano because he was playing off the whole time, and they RPO'd him to death. And finally, LSU had to change some things up. But what was really more disappointing, this front seven was just so inconsistent with their run fits. And to me, they took a step backwards from the progress they had made against Missouri in the second half, Auburn, Army. And I know, Alabama was different because Milroe was such an incredible athlete. But to me, that was the disappointment that your run fits were inconsistent and sloppy against Florida, and you really didn't get any help on the back end. Look, Georgia State's not good offensively. I mean, they run 4 wides. They tried to be balanced on offense. They've got a dual threat quarterback that's been there a while, but they're nothing of the quality of what they've seen thus far. But still, they're going to run some of the same concepts. And so, are you going to be more disciplined in your assignments? Are you going to keep your run fits, keep your lanes, and not bust things like you did? And so I think it's a little bit of dress rehearsal for whatever the hell we're going to see next week out of Bobby Petrino, because I expect him to very much go off script from whatever he did against Abilene Christian today.
Give me a scouting report on Toviano, because we didn't see a lot of him early in the year. We've seen a lot more of him the last 3 weeks. He was a very highly recruited kid and seems to have a lot of potential. What's your read on him?
Yeah, he's just green. I think physically he's not far off, whereas I think Stamps probably needs to put a little bit more weight on. I think, Toviano's a high football IQ. He's battled. I think that, he's obviously made a couple mistakes, but I think that he's assignment-wise, he's been pretty smart. I like the way that he battled at Alabama in that football game. And, I think that because they're so, whatever on the back end, you're not elite. I think that House has had to simplify. Absolutely, he's had to simplify some things back there. And you're not uber talented, so you can't bring a lot of pressure and put these guys on an island. So you're pretty vanilla back there, and so people know that, and they're going to pick on you a little bit. It was no surprise that Rob Sale, continued to throw the football on the freshman, and so I think he's got to be able to mix it up a little bit. He just needs some more seasoning. But I think what's encouraging out of all this, I'm at the point now, play Play the young kid. Let's see what Jordan Allen looks like. What about Yates? Let's play Toviano and Stamps because they're going to be here hopefully for a while, and you give them a chance to learn here as true freshmen and redshirt freshmen.
All right, that's in the back end. Young players in the front end. Yes. I'm going to keep asking about Deshaun Womack until you just give up and play him. So you might see a little PT tonight.
I would hope so. And the book on him has been, elite, getting up the field, inconsistent in the run game, maybe not enough weight. I think a couple things since you moved to that four-man front that he probably fits that a little bit better. Also, the other thing I'll tell you is Swinson's played well, and then on the other side, Shand has really come out and played a little bit, and Savion Jones has probably benefited as much as anybody, as much as Harold Perkins, by going to this new look at that position. It's just finding time to get him on the football field. But what he brings in the pass game is pass rush game is different level. From what I understand, he was a ways away from being able to stop the run and understanding that. And I can understand that as well, too, But I hear you. This is a game you want to play.
All right, last thing. I've been saving this one all week. It's kind of out there.
Great.
All right, you ready? Yeah. All right. Uh-huh. Hear me out. Aaron Anderson goes back to return a punt. And returns the punt.
That's too much.
Okay? And if it goes sideways, it goes sideways. But just thought I'd ask. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in the same school, right? I mean, you go get,
Been 2 years worth of fair catches. Can we let's try something really radical, a punt return.
Jeez. Charlie, you don't need to go on the rant. I'm with you on this.
I don't want to rant.
At some point, if you're going to play for a national championship, you've got to have somewhat of a punt return game, whether it's this year or next year. And nobody doubts the kid is electric with the ball in his hands. And so this is a great game maybe to establish some trust, right? You got this one, A&M. If you could get some trust next week, you put him out there against A&M. Then all likelihood we'll be playing Tampa, and it'll be an exciting game against NC State. And you can play him down there as well too.
Yeah. All right, stay loose during postgame. We may need you. Okay, just okay. keep your phone handy. Okay.
Just keep Musso off the Central Michigan sideline. Right?
I'll stay away.
Thanks, Gordy. We appreciate it. All right, for those of you that are with us rooting against Michigan,
yes.
The good news is that they got the ball back. The bad news is that the punt went down to the 1 yard line. So all Maryland's got to do is go 99 yards in 4 minutes with 2 timeouts.
They're basically in the same spot they just were.
I mean, LSU could score twice in this amount
That's
of
true.
time. But
LSU could score that in one play potentially.
So hey, listen, we'll watch. Go Terps.
Go Terps.
Go
Turtles. I like Turtles.
See if they got a shot here. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Thanksgiving this week. Look, there's so many different dishes you can do with rice for Thanksgiving, your traditional Thanksgiving meals, but is there anything more of a staple at Thanksgiving than rice dressing? Make it with Supreme Rice, whether it's the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, or the jasmine. Supreme Rice, a perfect complement to your Thanksgiving Day feast. Our Louisiana farmers down in Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s. They have all of that Supreme Rice grown, milled, and processed down in Southwest Louisiana. So when you buy Supreme Rice, you're supporting Louisiana farmers, you're supporting our local economy. Plus, Supreme Rice wants to make sure that future generations of farmers are taken care of as well. That's why they're part of the Climate Smart program. You can look for the Climate Smart labeling on the packaging. It supports emissions reductions and water conservation to make sure those future generations of farmers are taken care of. For more information and great recipes, go to the website at SupremeRice.com. Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl is with us next with our scouting report. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day Scouting Report. Presented by Demco. Demco. Powering lives. Brightening the future.
And welcome back in. Eagle 98.1 Game Day here from the Rouses on Burbank and Lee. LSU and Georgia State, a 7 p.m. kick in Tiger Stadium. Last night game of the year in Death Valley. Time for Scouting Report. We'll welcome in our guy from the Reese's Senior Bowl, the executive director over there in Mobile, Jim Nagy, for another week. Jim, we appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm doing great, Matt.
All right, Jim. So around here, with playoff not a consideration, they're not going to Atlanta, but man, all eyes are on New York, and there's a lot of Heisman buzz in Baton Rouge, as you might expect. So obviously want to get plenty of thoughts on Jaden Daniels this week as LSU steps out of conference. And, I mean, first, look, I saw on social media that you and others were here in our neck of the woods earlier this week extending the official invite to the Senior Bowl to Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, we were. And I was also on social media during the game last week trying to stir up that Heisman buzz myself. He's had such a great year. Walk-ons is a big part of that Baton Rouge community, what Brandon Landry has built, and they've been our official practice partner for 3 years now. So we usually do the in-person invites with walk-ons with smaller school players, guys that were like walk-ons in college or small school guys. But with Jaden, it just was a great opportunity right there in the kind of the flagship, the original location there in Baton Rouge. We staged it. It was our first hidden camera official invite before. We've done a lot of stuff at schools and team meetings and after practices and things of that nature, but we've never hidden cameras before like we had to for Jaden this week. But it was a lot of fun. I've been watching Jaden for a lot of years now, going back to his freshman year at Arizona State when he was throwing to a receiver that played in our game, a first-round pick named Brandon Ayuk, who's really playing great for the San Francisco 49ers now. And Jaden and I were joking that he was like, there's a video on my phone from a game they played at Michigan State his freshman year at Arizona State, and he looks like he's about 150, 160 pounds in that video. So he is a different-looking guy now. He's certainly playing a lot different than he was back then. But it was really cool to get over there with Joe Sloan, the quarterback's coach, was a part of the deal. And just a really fun afternoon.
Jim, there's so much talk about the Heisman Trophy and ballots and voting and things of that nature. And I think you, with the scouting background and scouts in general, probably have a pretty unique perspective on this because, like I said, the talk here is, voters, how deep do they go in their process? A lot of them are beat writers, right? Are they taking the time out to watch each candidate heavily enough to make the proper decision? Or is it just the guy on the biggest stage? You hear so much, is it a team award? Is it not a team award? That thing. I think, again, you with the scouting background has a bit of an interesting perspective because you're familiar with so many of the players, not only up for the award, but who they're playing against. Can you put into perspective in that realm this season that Jaden Daniels is having, considering the defenses and players that he's done it against?
Yeah, not sure how deep all these voters go. I don't have a vote. I wish I did, but we don't here at the Senior Bowl. So I don't know about that, but I do know that Jaden's worthy. I think if I did have a vote, it would be for Jaden Daniels. I think he's the best player in college football this year. Certainly the hardest to defend with his run threat. And I think where Jaden's really made a nice step this year is just knowing you're making the decisions on when to take off and use that speed and use that elusiveness and when to stay in the pocket and make throws. I think that's been the biggest jump. Now, we talked about it earlier this year that felt like Jaden was the most improved quarterback we saw last year. And he's also improved this year. And I think to me, it's that decision-making part of when to take off and when to use all his tools. So yeah, he's had an unbelievable year against really good competition. That Florida game was kind of a night game on a big stage. I think a lot of people around the country were watching that game. So, hopefully that helps him get him to New York. I mean, at minimum, he should be there. I wouldn't hear any argument for him not being there. If you want to argue another guy should win it, okay, I'll listen to Michael Penix and Bo Nix and some of those other guys. But Jaden certainly deserves that trip to New York City.
Yeah, the 606-yard game against Florida. I mean, we've never seen anything like it, literally. And it was, you could kind of see him getting closer and closer throughout the night. The person I was sitting next to when I was watching, I turned and said, he's got a legitimate chance to do this. And the little pop pass to Brian Thomas put him there. It was incredible to see. And I'm with you. He should at least get the invite, and I think he will. One thing I want to kind of double back to here from the Florida game, not involving Jaden Daniels, involves Charles Turner, Jim, because that was the matchup that we highlighted last week previewing that game, was Charles Turner going up against Cam Jackson, and what a challenge that would be for him. And I know Turner's a guy that we've mentioned in this segment a couple different times that y'all have had y'all's eye on for a while. And for what it's worth, after going up against Jackson, he earns SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. So my question with that is, maybe not, how much does that award, that honor matter in a scouting perspective, but is that kind of like a tip-off that, man, he got that the week of Florida, maybe that's a game tape we need to go look at?
Yeah, that kind of stuff, the award stuff, really usually isn't even on a scout's radar, to be honest with you. They don't pay a lot of attention to that stuff. They're going to watch the games regardless. They do know that Florida's got Cam Jackson in the middle of that defense, and that's a game that they had circled for that matchup and for Charles. So I haven't had a chance to watch the tape of it. If he did play that well, then that's going to be a feather in his cap. That's going to be one that's going to matter because, right now I think the NFL, everyone's comfortable with the athlete and the mobility of Charles Turner. There's some really good things, at the second level. And when he gets out on the perimeter, I think the question will be, how does he hold up against, bigger, stronger men like Cam Jackson? He's a mountain. So if he played well, that's going to be great for Charles.
One more on LSU, and then I have some news surrounding y'all's game that I wanted to get to. Talking with Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. John Emery, unfortunate, goes down with the ACL, and he's out for the year. And I hate that personally for John Emery, a guy who has been through so much in his career at LSU and could have left multiple times and stuck it out and came back and worked hard. For it to end that way is really disappointing. Is that an injury this late in the year that probably takes him out of the draft and probably in more of an undrafted free agent type deal now?
He probably wasn't going to get picked anyway. I mean, I hate to put it that way, and I hate that you hate seeing guys go down their senior year. Running back's really one of those production positions that teams want to see. So does he have the talent to play at the next level? I do think he does. I think he's shown that, in flashes over his career. I think he is going to get an opportunity to do that, or would have gotten an opportunity. And now this is a tough timetable for him to get back by the time we get to training camp. I think that would be pushing it. So now realistically, he's looking at a scenario where even when he gets healthy, he's probably signing a year from now in December to like a futures contract, because even in the middle of next football season, is he going to be really ready? I'm not sure, but I hate it for him. John, played some good football over his time there. Just really unfortunate timing.
It is. It was, I mean, right when you saw it, it's like, oh, that didn't look good. You hope it's not as bad as it seemed, but ultimately it was. Jim, a couple for you on the Senior Bowl, because there's been a pretty interesting development. Last week, this news broke that underclassmen are now eligible. The NFL sent the word down to a couple different bowl games, yours included. First and foremost, how did that decision kind of happen, that process play out with the NFL?
Well, we started talking to the league office about it in August, so we weren't caught off guard by this. We had our scouts out all fall watching juniors. I mean, there's some LSU guys we were keeping an eye on as well, just in case this happened. There wasn't any assurance, but at least we had those talks in August. And then they circled back a few weeks ago and made it sound like it was definitely going to happen. So we were prepared for the most part. We had grades in on about 60 or 70 junior players, and that's about the number that came out in the draft last year was 70. But now what's happened is the floodgates have opened the last week, and my phone, has been ringing off the hook, or my texts have been going off all for the past week about agents now that are on junior players that we hadn't even looked at yet. Guys that they're representing for NIL right now that they want to see if they're good enough to get a Senior Bowl invite. So it's definitely created a level of work that maybe I didn't anticipate. I didn't see all these junior names coming out of the woodwork right now. And again, like, if we're going to bring the juniors, they have to be really good players. We want to keep those guys in the first 2 or 3 rounds. To me, if you're a junior and you're not projected to go in the first 2 or 3 rounds, then you probably shouldn't be coming out in the first place. So, but it's exciting news. I mean, it's going to ratchet up the star power of the Senior Bowl. It's a good thing for us. We've averaged about 40 top 100 players over the last 3 or 4 drafts, and the other 50 to 55 guys are juniors. We usually have about 5 guys that decline our invite, like Joe Burrow did. But for the most part, the rest of that top 100 are junior players. So if we could get 30 or 40 of those guys, again, just cranks up the star power around our game, which is a really good thing.
Certainly adds a level of intrigue, and it looks going to give us more players to talk about here on this show in the future. So certainly something to keep an eye on. Jim, we appreciate the time as always, and we look forward to doing it again next week. Close out the regular season versus Texas A&M.
All right, Matt. Well, have a great Thanksgiving.
You do the same. That is Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. Be back here on Eagle 98.1 Game Day with more after this.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified, and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infinity Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Otter Locks. Presented by Excel. For over 30 years, excellence in providing construction engineering and fabrication services. For information, visit us at excelusa.com. Now, here's Jimmy Ott.
And we bring in Jimmy Ott. Of course, Football Sunday tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Jimmy, good afternoon. How are you?
Doing good over here at the Beau Rivage, man. The buffet's back where it belongs. We're ready to go. Back in business.
Oh,
bro.
all right. Well, I will see you there in the morning. Let's talk about some of the games in the early window. Michigan, they hung on. I don't know that I ever really felt like Maryland was going to win the game, but they had a shot. They had the ball twice in the last 6 minutes. They had to go the length of the field, and Michigan, got the ball back from them twice. But this was close. This was competitive. It looked early like Michigan might run away with it, and then Maryland got back in there and almost pulled the upset.
Maryland had a shot, man. Second year in a row on this week before the big Ohio State-Michigan game that Maryland is right there with a real shot to make an upset. They lost tight last year at Ohio State. Do the same here against Michigan. No, man, you got the ball in a 5-point game. I mean, that's a stressful game for the Maize and Blue, no doubt.
Louisville and Miami. Miami actually completes the Hail Mary at the end of the game, but it's outside right about the 5-yard line, I guess, and he's not able to get in. So Louisville holds on for a touchdown victory. Jimmy, Louisville's 10-1. Are they any good?
They're good, but they're not. They're not that good. They do clinch the ACC tournament championship game. It's a great coaching job by Brom coming over. Our buddy Matt Humans, he did like their win total over. He's a Purdue guy. You give them credit, but no, Kentucky can go there next week. Virginia had the ball in the lead on last Thursday night against them, and Virginia's having a horrible season. They're in the basement of the ACC, so they're good, but no, not top 10 good.
All right, the 2:30 window. Tennessee, first play from scrimmage, 75-yard touchdown run, and they've got an early lead against Georgia. I'm not going to get too excited right this second, but what shot do you give the Vols today?
Slim, but, to pull off an upset, you kind of need a play like that early. So, I mean, that makes the life a lot more of this game a lot more interesting. So, we know Milton's going to be hit or miss. He really has where, we've seen some quarterbacks. We know that no better place than Baton Rouge where a quarterback can make an improvement from year to year. Hasn't been that way for Milton. And, a little bit of a pride thing, too, after they got blasted at Missouri. So we just keep waiting for this Georgia team to be in some games. And, it could happen, but it's getting the break early does certainly help Tennessee's cause.
Another game between ranked teams here in this window actually started at 1:30. Arizona jumped out 28-0 on Utah. Now the Utes get a touchdown right before the half to make it 28-7. I think there's still a little bit of time to go there. Arizona's a great story, Jimmy. Jed Fish took over a program that was in disarray and has really done a great job. They found a freshman quarterback in Noah Fafita who has done a really nice job. And Utah's splits between home and road are about as drastic as they are.
No doubt, man. And Arizona, you, me, and Max all put it in our 5-pack yesterday, and they have come out smoking. So, hey, this guy is. I mean, that was a dumpster fire he took over a couple of years ago, and you lose your starting quarterback, and they based a lot of the things they did on offense with DeLara. So I know you're high in the backup, and he's performed well, but this has been all Arizona early, But Utah is just maybe another reason, kind of like this. Think about Washington kind of leaking oil a little bit, get to the finish line. Man, it was life or death with Utah at Seattle last week. Not the case with Tucson today.
That's this is about as important a Pac-12 game as you'll see for LSU fans to pay attention to. This game between Oregon State and Washington tonight. Jimmy, Washington's undefeated. Like you said, they're leaking oil. They've had their problems the last few weeks, but they're still winning. This is a tough test at Research Stadium. Oregon State has been very tough at home this season. DJU has had a kind of a career resurgence, and Washington is actually a small underdog going into that game tonight at 6:30.
I love Oregon State in this spot. They're 17-1 against the spread at home their last 18. They could have beaten USC last year. It was, at the time, in the top five. And Jonathan Smith has done a great job. And how much is there a little extra juice in the tank that this is the last home game for Oregon State against their superior, more favored older brothers. So, it's always a tough place to play, but it's going to be a really good. Washington's defense is in the triple digits in the country on third down, but they're really good on fourth down. I think it's just coincidental, but it's they have gotten those stops at the most important time. I think that kind of catches up with them. I love Oregon State at the line of scrimmage. DJU also benefiting from that running game. He's 9 yards a attempt, which is very good also. I think it'd be a very, very tough test for Michael Penix in Washington. Normally, Charlie, but you got a team that opens up the dog and they're all of a sudden the favorite. I don't like to be on that side, but I am today. One thing I forgot to tell you about Utah also, today, 3 important scratches on defense. 3 of their top defensive starters were scratched before game time. Allowed me to get even more on Arizona today.
Let me ask you about Penix. I know you feel kind of the same way I do about Penix, Nix, and Daniels. The Heisman race as it is at this point. If Penix is going to come back to the pack, it needs to. If those two guys are going to both have a loss, Oregon State really needs to win this game tonight.
Yeah, no, that's Jaden Daniels' Heisman chance's best friend. I think Penix and Washington control their own Heisman destiny. And, Bo Nix is the clear favorite right now, basically even money. And then it's kind of co-favorites for Daniels and Penix. But if you're going to beat Oregon State on the road, you could beat Washington State and then beat Oregon again in the it's going to be his. So, yeah, you pull it for that hot. Jaden Daniels has to have a little bit of help on this thing, and he needs Oregon State upset, or win, rather, now as a favorite, would be big for his chance.
And, Jimmy, for those that are wondering why Bo Nix with a loss is the favorite against Michael Penix, who is undefeated, a hypothetical matchup between Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12 championship game favors Oregon by more than a field goal, right?
Yes, just over a field goal. It's because the odds makers and the betting public realize that the path to winning out is much more high percentage at Oregon. Oregon's going to be favored the rest of their games, Washington's going to be underdog in 2 of their 3 remaining games. So it's the path that they have. Because I saw Rabelais' column today, kind of polling some people. Penix is the favorite right now, but Vegas understands that path is going to be tough. It's low percentage that they're going to run the table. Sorry about Washington.
Yeah, because if you never look at a point spread and you don't look down the thing, you say, wait a minute, Oregon and Washington played. Washington won the game. Maybe Oregon should have won the game, but Washington did win the game. So why is Nix favored? And that's why the path towards the end of the season.
And just look at the common opponents recently. I mean, Oregon, that was one of the most impressive performances of the season. They go to Salt Lake City and destroy Utah. And Washington wins by 1 score in Seattle. So Oregon over the bigger. And listen, we both think that Oregon kind of blew that game in Seattle against Washington with some shaky game management. speaking of game management, Mario Cristobal was at it again today. They have 4th and goal at the 2. He's got all 3 timeouts with a minute and a half to go. So, if you don't get it, you're going to get the ball near midfield with a minute 15 to go. He burns a timeout before the 4th down, and that's why the clock ran low, and they ran out of time, at the end of the game for the Hail Mary.
You should see the look on Musso's face.
I'm over Mario Cristobal, Otter. I'm so over him. Like,
he had a Miami ticket that he had to throw away, Jimmy.
He's just awful. Like, the guy can recruit. He is a terrible game day coach.
I had Miami too, Musso, but I'll tell my buddy Chris from Florida over here. It's like, not like we didn't know he sucked before we put this bet down. Okay, so our buddy Randy McKay, who's he's the hottest handicapper we have going right now. He puts his power polls in. Coaching. Charlie, I know you jumped on this last year. Against the Denver coach and Staley with the Chargers. I mean, yeah, man, it's got to be part of your handicap, and flag on us, Musso, for understanding this guy really is bad, but we still going to put money on him.
That's Otter. It's fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. You know what? I'll do it again anyway. It's fine.
All right, Jimmy.
Just put a match to the damn money.
Exactly.
This guy.
Any other games that you like on the late card tonight?
Well, I mean, hey, man, a little 2-run single for Iowa. How Iowa is this to be up 2-0? I mean, how about to be
the most
up
Iowa
2-0?
score ever?
Yes, indeed. So, what's that, Charlie? I'm sorry.
No, if there was another game tonight that you recommended.
Oregon State is one. I think that being the backup quarterback for Kansas is out. That line's going up this week. It's now up to 10. I know that they're saying it's a game-time decision. But there's no way they're catching double digits at home against that one. And
Texas Tech was one that you liked. I know that goes in about an hour.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the sheet now. Texas Tech. I kind of like Missouri again. Laying points at home should be a shootout. Graham Burke is having a heck of a year. I heard Kuiper talking about how he has shown us things in Florida that he did not show us at all in Wisconsin. So I'm looking. It's Texas Tech at home is probably my biggest win. And Oregon State are the ones that are left.
All right, Jimmy, football Sunday tomorrow from the Beau Rivage. Tell everybody who's bringing us Otter Locks.
Yeah, Excel, high-quality turnkey solutions on construction, maintenance, turnaround, fabrication, disaster recovery, project management, all of these under one roof. Avoid the stress of coordinating multiple contractors. Do this business with Excel. For more information, go to excelusa.com.
All right, Jimmy, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10.
Charlie,
go ahead.
EJ put it on him last night, baby.
I saw the score. The Knights with a big win over in Bunkie tonight, headed to the quarterfinals. Congratulations to Episcopal last night.
All right, guys.
Thanks a lot. Georgia with the ball back now. Tennessee leads at 7-3. We're about midway through the first quarter. Full scoreboard when we return here at Rouse's. Stop by for all your game day gear, all of your beer, your wine, your spirits, all your ice, your meats, a full bakery, full chop house here for both your tailgating and for Thanksgiving that is coming up, of course, this week. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
98.1. The First South Farm Credit College Football Scoreboard. First South Farm Credit, financing farms and land since 1916.
Start off in Knoxville, where Tennessee leads Georgia 7-3 about midway through. Now down to 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Jalen Wright took the first play of the ball game, went 75 yards for a touchdown for Tennessee. Georgia answered with a field goal. They've got the ball back and are down in foul territory at the 30-yard line. Games in progress in the fourth quarter. Liberty leads Massachusetts 49-18. Jacksonville State leads La Tech 42-17. That's in the third quarter. Also in the third quarter, UTEP and Middle Tennessee tied at 24. Rice leads Charlotte 21-0. App State leads James Madison 10-5. Game day was there, but it's been a rough go for the Dukes in the first half.
Baseball score there.
Yeah, 10-5. Ball State leading Kent State 19-3. Wyoming over Hawaii 35-3. Halftime score: Arizona leads Utah 28-7. Noah Fafita threw two touchdown passes in the first half. You heard Jimmy say Utah missing some key defensive personnel. Just about a minute to go to the half. West Virginia leads Cincinnati 28-7. Other second quarter scores: Virginia leads Duke 10-7, 8 minutes to go. North Texas leads Tulsa 14-7. Temple and UAB are tied at 7. Texas State leads Arkansas State 17-14. Colorado State leads Nevada 20-3. Iowa leads Illinois 2-0. It's just so appropriate. First quarter scores: number 19 Notre Dame has just punched it in. They lead Wake Forest 7-0. UCLA capitalized on a USC turnover to get a score. It's 7-0 Bruins. End of one, Virginia Tech and NC State are scoreless. Also at the end of one, Baylor leads TCU 7-0. First quarter scores: UL Lafayette leads Troy 7-0. UNLV leads Air Force 7-0. Air Force without their starting quarterback today. North Carolina leads Clemson 7-0. Western Kentucky leads Sam Houston 7-0. Minnesota and number 2 Ohio State have just kicked off at the Shoe. Getting ready to kick off: number 6 Oregon and Arizona State, and Oklahoma State and Houston. Also New Mexico State and Auburn have just kicked off. They are scoreless 3 minutes in. 4 o'clock kickoff for Central Florida at Texas Tech. Lusso?
Conference game.
Thank you. Marshall at South Alabama. 5 o'clock, Old Dominions at Georgia Southern. 5:30, North Alabama at number 4 Florida State. 5:30, the big game, the last big game with the teams in the Pac-12. Cal and Stanford on the farm at 5:30. 6 o'clock kickoff, ranked teams in Lawrence, number 21 Kansas State, number 25 Kansas. Some uncertainty as to who will start at quarterback for Kansas. Watch that one as it gets closer to kickoff. Boise State is at Utah State. 6:30 kickoff. LSU fans watching this one. Number 5 Washington at number 11 Oregon State. Washington stays undefeated. It's going to be really hard to beat Michael Penix, but Oregon State is a small favorite at home at Research Stadium. Final Pac-12, Pac-12 as we know it, home game for Oregon State. Also, 6:30 kickoff. Florida is at number 9 Missouri. Florida International is at Arkansas. Kentucky is at South Carolina. Nebraska's at Wisconsin. 7 o'clock kickoff for number 7 Texas at Iowa State. It's a little bit of a sticky spot here for Texas. Ames is not the easiest place to go in and get a road win in November. And Texas's leading rusher, Jonathan Brooks, ruled out for the season. He is over 1,100 yards on the year. Syracuse is at Georgia Tech. Late starts, 9:30 kickoff. New Mexico is at Fresno State. And San Diego State is at San Jose State. Earlier finals today. Number 3 Michigan held on against Maryland 31-24. Maryland had the ball twice inside of 6 minutes to go, but could not drive the length of the field. Number 10 Louisville goes to 10-1 on the season with a 38-31 victory over Miami. Miami got the Hail Mary completion at the end of the game, but it was short of the goal line by about 4 yards, and so Louisville holds on for the win. Number 8 Alabama, no problems with Chattanooga, 66-10. Jalen Milroe 3 touchdown passes before he left. Number 12 Penn State certainly wasn't dominant, but pulled away from Rutgers in the fourth quarter. 27-6 was the final there. Number 13 Ole Miss beat UL Monroe 35-3. Number 14 Oklahoma over BYU 31-24.
Conference game.
Yes, thank you.
Another one.
Number 24 Tulane goes to 10-1 on the season, 7-0 in the American with a 24-8 win over Florida Atlantic. Tulane will be in the American Championship game. Michael Pratt threw 3 touchdown passes for the Wave. Army, somebody lit a fire under Army after they left Baton Rouge. They won 3 out of 4. They beat Coastal Carolina today, who had won 5 straight. 28-21 was the final there. Michigan State beats Indiana 24-21. Mississippi State beats Southern Miss 41-20. Will Rogers back.
Yes.
He threw a couple of touchdown passes today for State. Northwestern beat Purdue 23-15. Purdue played without starting quarterback Hudson Card plus their top defender on defense. Texas A&M beat Abilene Christian 38-10. That must have just been scintillating. UConn beat Sacred Heart 31-3. It was Navy shutting out East Carolina 10-0, and SMU beat Memphis 38-34. So SMU and Tulane both 7-0 in the American, and that is your college football scoreboard. Georgia gets a touchdown. They now go out on top 10-7, 3 minutes to go in the first half in Knoxville. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infinity Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Recruiting with Shay Dixon from On3 Sports. Presented by Ralph's Market. Ralph's Market, where quality and customer service are a family tradition.
Our Bears countdown to kickoff. 3 hours and 45 minutes. We're here at Rouse's Burbank at Lee. Come by for all your tailgating supplies, all your Thanksgiving supplies here at Rouse's. Shay, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Charlie?
Fantastic. Let's start with the corners. There's been a bit of a cornerback shuffle going on at LSU's recruiting class here for the last, 2.5 weeks or so. But losing Kai Bates this week was not something that I know the staff wanted to hear.
Yeah, but I think they saw this one coming a bit ago, which is why they moved on Bernard Causey out of New Orleans and then P.J. Woodland out of Oak Grove and Hattiesburg. South Mississippi cornerback that had been committed to State. He flipped to LSU, and then Bernard Causey had been committed to Ole Miss. He flips to LSU and stays home. So between Andre Evans flipping to Georgia, which they really didn't want to see, obviously, and then Kai Bates had taken a bunch of visits, and they kind of had known that things in the end he probably wasn't going to sign here. So knowing they needed cornerbacks, they went ahead and got ahead of the curve and ahead of his decision and took 2 more.
Shay, sometimes when players decommit, it's it never gets public, but it's kind of a mutual decision or something that comes up, or it's players that decide, this might not work out for me exactly. But when you lose them to high-profile teams like Georgia, you go, okay, no, this is somebody that everybody wants. This is not a processing thing. This is not a mutual decision. It's just a guy you lost. At least from the outside, that's how I'm looking at it. Am I right or wrong? And feel free to tell me if I'm wrong. But I see high-profile guys leaving the class, and it makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, corner's one, too, where Andre Evans has only played about 2 years of football, so he's relatively fresh to it. But, look, LSU thought he was good enough. Bama thought he was good enough. Georgia obviously flipped him, thought he was good enough. And it came down to, I think he just felt like Georgia and Athens was more of a fit for him. Kid coming out of Nashville at CPA. So it stings. Yeah, there is no doubt that you do not want to lose a player at a position of need to a school who is not only in your conference, but is dominating the conference right now. It hurts to have a guy flip to anyone that is either on your schedule or in your division or conference or whatever, however you might view it. But certainly to Georgia, that one hurts. And man, I'd have to think about it, Charlie. I can't think of many LSU commits that have flipped to Georgia. LSU's flipped a couple of Georgia commits, but this might be one of the first. But again, an out-of-state kid from Tennessee, so not like a Louisiana guy flipping to Georgia.
Yeah, I'd have to put the little hamster wheel going in my head.
Smith was committed to Georgia for a while, but he flipped to Bama.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the visitor list this weekend. I know, and we're going to set up the A&M weekend as well here in a second, but who is on campus this afternoon?
A lot of the commits, a lot of Louisiana guys. Playoffs are really heating up. So for Louisiana, Texas, everywhere. So for guys right now, it's obviously Friday night football, Saturday if you're advancing film study, and then if you can get in for the game, you can. And they're pushing for a lot more guys to get in next week. Obviously, the 11 a.m. kick makes it tough for out-of-state guys to come in, but if they're out of the playoffs by then, they can get in on Friday night. So we'll see. But, yeah, this weekend will be a lot of the commitments and then a lot of underclassmen who I think, down the line will continue to say, hey, look, that guy is, whether he's right now a sophomore or a junior in high school and ends up being, one of the most important players we're talking about this time next year, and we'll say, hey, he visited forever. Like, for instance, a Lamar Brown out of U High. He's only a sophomore, but he's a top 10 player in the country. Hasn't missed a home game this year. Now, granted, he also goes to U High, so he also doesn't miss a day on campus that I know of all year. But these are just those kind of games where, hey, in-state guys come, get on campus, hang out with the staff, be around the team, be around the other recruits, and that pays off whenever these guys become older and are nearing signing day, and you look back and you're like, well, we got him in, for 4 of the 6 home games, 3 years in a row or whatever it was.
It's easy to get them in on unofficial visits when the cost of travel is walking
across campus.
Yeah, across campus. That makes it a little easier. Hey, Shay, I don't have a commitment that went from LSU to Florida, but since we're watching this game between Georgia and Tennessee, I did just see Cedric Van Pran, who's made all-conference like 17 times in a row or whatever. Now, LSU never had him committed, but he's a New Orleans kid.
Is he out of eligibility yet?
We thought he was pro last year.
That's my thing. I look up every year, and I'm like, Cedric Van Pran, he still plays it. God. It stung the first time I had to see it 6 years ago. It's still going?
Unfortunately, it is. Shay, the 11 o'clock kickoff next week was, I think it was a surprise to most of us. I thought we believed that would be a night game, but que sera. So what does that do? I know that it's kind of a good news, bad news kind of thing. I've heard you say this before. The bad news is that it's not a night game in Tiger Stadium, and it's not maybe all of the hoopla all day in the tail. But the game ends early, and if you've got kids in, you can spend some time with them after the game. So you do at least have that going for you.
You do. You get a lot more time after the game, obviously, and then with it being the final regular season game, you're not playing in the SEC championship. You've got after the A&M game ends, you've got a lot of time to just say, hey, we're shifting to recruiting right now anyways between getting ready for signing day and the portal opening. So in that way, it does provide a good kind of amount of exposure for, their top prospects to spend time around the staff. But the other thing is just getting them all into town. They'll have no official visitors this week. We'll see if they do any next weekend. They usually like to save it for December when you're leading up to, those couple of weekends before signing day. They'll have all the commits in and then get some uncommitted guys on campus and around those guys and try to end up signing a few more. So next week, though, with A&M, I'm really watching Gabe Relaford, whose Evangel season, I guess, just ended. I believe they lost last night. But if they didn't, I'm sorry to the Evangel fans, or congrats for advancing. I guess I should have looked that up before I quickly read through the paper this morning. But he'll be in town, and he's committed to A&M. And I think he's the best D lineman in Louisiana. And Don McKinley's another who, playing over to Acadiana, those two are the top 2 D linemen in Louisiana. He's committed to A&M. So the shuffle and timeline, Charlie, of when does A&M make a hire? And right now with Elijah Robinson being the lead recruiter on those guys, he's interim. So they're kind of sticking around and, they're still committed and want to see if Elijah remains on staff, all those things. But from the LSU angle, it's, hey, just keep pushing, because these are 2 kids at positions of need who are really good football players. And I think Relaford is great. Has just been great for 2 years in a row that you'd love to keep home. So we talked about kind of corner earlier. D-line is very much like that. Maybe not as much of a need because you got a lot of guys now on roster who are going to come back another year, but you've got to start building some both depth and young guys at corner. As for the D-line, I think young guys is what you're looking for. So they need some high school signees.
Shaw beat Evangel last night 20-13. The fighting Jimmy Otts.
There you
go. One last night against Evangel. Shay, what's coming up after the game on 3?
We'll catch up with a lot of these guys who were at the game and just kind of get a feel for things and really have an eye on how these next few weeks play out in terms of the lead up to signing day. They have 25 commits, so I think they end up with, between JUCO and high school, maybe 3-4 more guys to try to settle around 29. And we've talked about it for months. They wanted to be between 25 and 30 high school signees, and that's kind of right on track with their 4.
All right, Shay, we appreciate it as we watch. Dolly Parton singing Rocky Top in Tennessee today. Is that Peyton Manning?
On the arm of Peyton Manning. How about that?
I mean, this is Tennessee royalty.
Eat your heart out, Knoxville.
Absolutely. Shay, we appreciate it. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you next Saturday when the Tigers wrap up the season.
Yeah, same to you guys. We'll talk bright and early next week. Yes, I'll talk to you all early. Call and wake me up.
Right. I'll have Musso set your phone alarm. Let's see where we are. 10-7. Georgia leads Tennessee. That game is headed towards the second quarter. We're at Rouse's. Stop by here at Burbank and Lee. Pick up all your tailgating supplies. This is a huge. We're on the left-hand side of the store. This is what I call the fun side of the store. You know, you get, of course, all your regular groceries on the right side of the store. But if you come left, okay, you got the deli, you got the chop house, you got the bakery, you got the Mongolian grill. You have a huge selection of wine, a huge selection of beer and spirits, and a few things. Can I recommend the egg rolls?
Try the egg rolls.
The egg rolls are good.
Absolutely.
We've tried them in more than once.
Can't go wrong with any of them.
Just to make sure that that we liked them. So, of course, Rouse's can help you with all of your Thanksgiving needs of the holiday coming up this Thursday, which is Uso's birthday.
Yes.
We decided to
Nothing else.
Decided
It's
to give
just
him
my
his birthday.
Nothing else.
Have a turkey sandwich.
I will.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll hear from the guys on OTB. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's a luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Off the bench on Game Day. Presented by Shell. Shell is the rhythm of Louisiana. Off the bench is heard weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from OTB, Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
We've been talking a lot about Jaden Daniels Heisman. Jaden Daniels, unbelievable. He should win Heisman. The context that I would add is that his 3 losses, not only did he play great in them, but they all took place to top 10 teams on the road. And he also has a win against a top 10 team on the road when you look at Mizzou and Como. And so no other, Bo Nix is going to be the one that they're going to try to push over the top. And Bo Nix has not gotten close to sniffing the schedule that Jaden Daniels has. And Bo Nix, just as a player, is great, but he can't hold Jaden's job. Give Jaden that Oregon defense. LSU's undefeated right now, potentially. Maybe one loss. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and you're right about like the game flow, 28-24. Like the only time that it even really felt any kind of a little hairy, because you always felt like, and we had this so many times when 2019 was playing, it's fine if you score points. That's great because you're literally not going to stop this offense.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only time, 28-24, because you had the fumble kickoff. You're like, oh, man, hold up. Like, is this going to happen again? But then they come right back. And the things that he's doing, like, there's no other way for us to sit up here and explain how Jaden Daniels is the best player in the country and it's not close. Like, we've run out of ways.
Yeah.
It's just facts. Like, it's truth. Like, there's nothing else that we could sit here and try to convince you. If you're not convinced now, then you just don't know what you're seeing, and you don't know football, or you don't know something, or you're just holding a grudge or something, because the things that he is doing, I mean, they're world-class right now. Nobody else is even in the same category. So the game that he just had, a game that we've never seen before, like literally a quarterback has never thrown and ran for that many yards in a game.
Yeah, 350 and 200
in
was
FBS
the
history.
Cutoff, yeah.
History. It's never happened. He didn't do it against Directional School U. He did it against the Florida Gators. And I don't care that Florida's 5-5. When a quarterback runs away from Florida Gator DBs and it looks easy, that's special. Like, that is rare. That he did not do that against some, Sun Belt team. No disrespect to the Sun Belt.
Anything like that. Yeah, no, this wasn't a cupcake game where he just got hot and went off. He did against legitimate SEC competition. And he did it in a game where his team would have lost had he not done it.
Yes.
So it wasn't like you were just running away with the game and dominating. He just continued to dominate. No, he made the plays that he had to do. Like, we talk a lot of empty calorie games. This is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
This was high protein, complex carbs, simple fats, LDLs, whatever it is they used to tell us in kinesiology. This was a volume heavy, mass building, healthy ass meal of a game. The only thing that I worry about is people are going to want to crown Bo Nix because Oregon's good.
And if he gets a Pac-12 championship game
and
performance.
Jaden's going to be sitting at home
on
championship weekend, and Bo Nix will be playing Washington likely. And if Nix balls out and gets revenge, it's all going to say me Bo Nix. But I hope that we reach the point where we don't fall into some stupid trap like that. Because people think about LSU, they still think the Tigers should be good on defense. It still feels a bit surprising to see an offensive, a mainly offensive LSU football team. Well,
and
the defense
offensive defense.
Yeah, I was going to say, the defense is offensive in its own way.
Yeah.
But so really everything's offensive on this team, but it's so true. I mean, we're now twice. If Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman, two quarterback Heisman winners within half a decade of each other, with completely different staffs, completely different cast of characters, it speaks to a place that has certain advantages. And maybe that's because you have great skill positions. We can really try to dissect the anatomy of how that is, but it speaks to a place that has great advantages that can set a young quarterback up for success, which is a vision that, not only can you sell to high school cats like Underwood, but maybe even more importantly to your transfers.
Yeah.
Given that both guys are transfers. Because remember, we went through the athletic study last year, and if you sign a 5-star quarterback, there's actually now a less than 50% chance that he stays, even if he plays. Guys just leave. It just is what it is. So maybe actually, now that we're talking this out, even more importantly, it comes from selling transfers on what you can be if you come here.
There's so many things that you could sell with that. I mean, hey, in 2 years, two quarterbacks in a 5-year period, we've got the Heisman Trophy winner at that position. Not when Jason White at Oklahoma or Troy Smith at Ohio State won the Heisman either, right? Kind of, I don't want to say by default, but a little bit, right? Their seasons were okay. They were okay, and they got the Heisman Trophy. We're talking about generational type record-breaking stats that both of those quarterbacks had. And so not only would they have won the Heisman, they would have done it with elite special seasons that we haven't really ever seen before. And so I think that also makes it go up a notch. And you have to be able to recruit at a high level at that position when you can say that, hey, these guys, Joe Burrow wasn't even playing at Ohio State. They didn't realize what he had. He comes to LSU, and then he does what he does, right? Jaden Daniels was good at Arizona State, but he couldn't unlock what he did here at LSU. There's so many different ways that you could recruit to that, and it is wild because, like, LSU was a graveyard for a very, very long time, and you would have, obviously, like, we could go back in history, like you had a run where you had Jamarcus and Flynn and Perilou on the same team. Like, so you've had really good quarterbacks, but this changes the game. If you're able to win another Heisman Trophy, bring in top talent, you can possibly bring in the number one quarterback in the country out of high school. You've got a solid backup right now that we all think is going to do some big things next year as well. So if you can continue, that's what you have to do. Like,
yearly success.
and then you build off of it.
And it's not going to be yearly Heisman, but that's what bums me out about the Miles.
But
Brennan.
it was for Oklahoma for a while. I mean, you can be somewhat in that category.
That's what bums me out, though, about the Miles Brennan portion of this equation is that he was going to be statistically overwhelming in 2020. Like that Mizzou game, he had improved every week. That Mizzou game, he was absolutely popping off, and then their momentum kind of got arrested. And even though there were some good performances within, it took you a couple of years to kind of refine it. So, yeah, Nuss could potentially represent a nice continuation, even though that's a lot of pressure, Bo. A lot of pressure.
It is, but if there's one mentality that is going to accept the challenge, it's probably going to be Garrett Nussmeier.
It's true, and maybe we'll get to watch.
Because that ain't for everybody.
Maybe we'll get to watch him versus Notre Dame in the real Quest Bowl. Which even at that point, like, I want to win 10 games, and I think it does matter, and that's great, but I'm not going to fault Jaden Daniels if he's like, okay, I have to go get ready for my NFL career now because I'm trying to make myself into a first-round pick.
There'll be some interesting decisions, for obviously like that situation, a guy that's a senior and is going to be what I think is going to be, I mean, by the day, higher and higher, a really solid draft choice.
That's what I'm saying.
Play
He's got to
into the first round.
Early second, late first area. Like, I believe. I mean, again, you comp guys, not to say they're going to be those guys, but the Lamar Jackson comp gets stronger and stronger by the day. Because that was the thing about Lamar, is that everybody wanted to paint him one way, but he was actually an elite thrower. And that's Jaden as well. I mean, Jaden might probably even a little better coming out of college.
Very similar builds.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything.
So a lot of people are like, oh, his weight. No, I mean, it's very.
But that's why I also kind of can't fault him for if he does want to like start to go ready for the NFL, because even if he doesn't want to play it that way, like he would, maybe his agent or people are telling him like, well, you just gain a little bit. I don't. And plus, then like you get the 15 practices. If you really you get that like from a future standpoint, that's a great chance for Nuss.
They used it last year. I mean, I thought it was a great idea how they used it last year. I mean, Jaden was the guy, but they're like, hey, this is a situation where, this bowl game is what it is, and we're going to use both quarterbacks.
Yeah, so I don't want to and I feel a little weird having this conversation because I don't want to come off as criticism. I don't want anybody to be upset like, why is J. Daniels? We don't know. Maybe he plays the bowl game. He absolutely could.
If anybody would, he feels like a guy that would.
Yeah, maybe he could, but I just I don't know like I almost don't. I'm almost even like, you know what, man, you did your job. Like, thank you. Like, you're the man. Go do whatever you need to do. And if you want to play, hell yeah, I'd be down. But we'll see.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2020
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. After further review on Game Day, presented by the Grove Recovery Center. The Grove Recovery Center. Recovery designed for you. After further review is heard weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from AFR, here's Matt Moscona.
Color Bears countdown to kickoff time. 3 hours and about 20 minutes from now, LSU and Georgia State. We bring in Matt Moscona. Scone, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good, thanks.
Got to admit, last week after we did the segment and we were talking and you said, look, what's left for me this season is Jaden Daniels' Heisman candidacy, and I hope he has a monster game, and I hope he wins it, and that's what I'm hoping for. And I'll tell you what I was thinking at that time was, that's a nice thought. It would be wonderful if it happened, but come on, he's not going to get himself back into this. But lo and behold, he did, Matt. So I do have to give this unfortunate update. Bo Nix has thrown 145 yards worth of passes on his first 2 drives and 2 touchdown passes as Oregon goes out 14-0. So. Give me that's not helping anything, but give me what has to happen, and because right now I think it's almost out of Jaden Daniels' hands. More so, it's in Nix and Penix's hands as to who's going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, it's in Oregon State's defense's hands actually over the next 2 weeks. I agree. Jaden's had his moment. He's not going to get another stage. No one's going to be watching LSU Georgia State tonight. And unfortunately, next week, the league and the TV partners did LSU no favors because LSU is going to play at 11 a.m. when everybody's watching Ohio State, Michigan. So nobody's going to watch Jaden the next 2 weeks. But then again, nobody's watching Bo Nix right now. Really what you're hoping for is next week against Oregon State or in the Pac-12 championship, Bo Nix just throws up on himself. And we've seen bad Bo plenty when he was at Auburn. So it's buried deep in there somewhere. And I'm hoping we see it one of the next 2 weeks. And Jaden continues to roll. But I will say, guys, look, the challenge next week for LSU against Texas A&M's defense ratchets up a bit. So Jaden will have to continue his pace. He can't fall off pace. The other thing I'll tell you, too, I don't know how much y'all have really dug into this, but when you look at the 3,000, 1,000 club, throwing for 3,000 yards, running for 1,000 yards, it's really rare. And among Power 5 quarterbacks, you're talking about Johnny Manziel did it, won the Heisman. Lamar Jackson did it, won the Heisman. Who am I forgetting that didn't win the Heisman?
Colin Kaepernick?
Oh, you know who was? Yeah, I'm talking about Power 5. It was Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
It was Deshaun Watson and Vince Young. And they didn't, but obviously Young did it in a season where Reggie Bush won the Heisman. So, guys, like it's super rare, and I think that's what Jaden can do. If he joins that 3,000, 1,000 club, that's going to pop enough to where that may be enough to do it to where voters look and say, that's rare enough to where we're going to vote for it.
I'm curious how many voters are going to know that. And listen, I know there's a lot of people that vote on the Heisman. I know not all of them are what you would call dyed-in-the-wool football fans. There are some pro beat writers that vote on this award for reason passing understanding. There's some former and look, if a former Heisman winner, there's only a handful of them. If they're not paying attention, look, they've earned the right to put their vote up there. But the media members ought to at least pay some attention. Do you think, when you say keep pace over the next 2 weeks, what's keep pace for Jaden Daniels? What's par for the next 2 weeks?
So I do think that it's easier now than ever for people. So I agree with you as far as the 3,000, 1,000 thing, but just look at what happened this past week when there was a glut of national media that all started putting out there, wait a minute, like, why aren't we touting this guy? And that became the national narrative. And look at what happened from kickoff Saturday against Florida to Monday. LSU, Jaden Daniels was the 7th best Heisman odds to 2nd. Even after the game, Saturday, he was 4th. And Sunday he went to 3rd, and then Monday he went to 2nd. So that was a lot of the national narrative. As far as what he has to do, I think tonight, look, he's ahead of both Bo Nix and Michael Penix in touchdowns. He's 8 touchdowns ahead of Penix. If over the next 2 weeks, Jaden gets to 50 touchdowns accounted for, pushes near, I don't think he's going to cross 4,000 yards, but near 4,000 yards passing, and over 1,000 yards rushing, which he could get there tonight, then you're looking at benchmarks that are hard to ignore, like Lamar Jackson had in 2016, like RG3 had in 2011. The difference with a guy like, I mentioned Vince Young. Vince Young did. Oh, you know who the other one was? Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts did it Jalen Hurts did it in 2019. Well, Jalen Hurts was up against Joe Burrow, and it didn't matter what he did, he wasn't beating Joe Burrow. There's nobody this year that is so far. There is no Joe Burrow. There is no Reggie Bush this year. So there is an open door for a guy like Jaden. If he does something extraordinary, I think he'll win it. But you know what, guys? I think we're probably, for the first time in a long time, going to be watching that Heisman ceremony going, I don't know who's going to win this thing.
Yeah, the odds are very, very close. Bo Nix just threw his 3rd touchdown pass, and they're not out of the first quarter yet.
Come on.
In Tempe. I could lie to you, but
it
would just
come on.
It would just be a lie.
Where's Dallas Turner when you need him, guys? Where's Dallas Turner?
Hey, look, Arizona State played their behinds off against Washington. They held Washington to no offensive touchdowns, and that was on the road. But I don't think you're going to get you're not going to get that kind of effort again. This is what I would say. I'm going to watch the rest of this box score to see how long Nick stays in this game. Because it's somewhere in the 35 or 42 to nothing range. I would quit paying attention to Bo Nix stats. Like, if they kept him in the game past that, if I were a voter, that wouldn't sway me one bit. Okay, and this is why I don't subscribe to the fact that Brian Kelly should keep Jaden Daniels in 2-3 extra series tonight, because those numbers don't mean anything. Like Mike Lombardi told us when he was on the show, I'm not watching the Grambling film. I'm going to watch the Alabama film 3 times. So tell me when it's relevant. This is relevant right now. But if Bo Nix is in there piling up yards in the 4th quarter and they're up 6 touchdowns, that wouldn't sway me, Matt. Do you think it will sway other people?
But no voter is going to go back and watch this game. No voter is going to go back and watch Grambling. But Jaden Daniels threw 5 touchdown passes. I mean, Handy, I just referenced that Jaden's he's at 38 touchdowns, whereas Penix is at 30. 5 of those came against Grambling. I didn't make that note. No, and nobody else will.
Right. No, and look, he's got to go out and play against Grambling. I mean, they still play the game. I'm just saying he wasn't piling up stats in the 4th quarter of the Grambling game, or even in the 3rd quarter of the Army game. The stats mean something. And I think these stats mean something. They wouldn't mean anything if, like I said, if they're up by 45 points in the 4th quarter, those numbers don't mean anything. But to get to 45, those matter. Yeah. And right now he's at 163 yards and 161 yards and 3 touchdowns at the end of a quarter. So, yikes.
Come on, Beavers. Let Oregon State can do it next week, guys. I got faith in the Beavs. Let's go. Yeah. John Smith, let's do it.
John Smith.
Hey, I'd like a little support for my week 0 idea, by the way. from you fellas in the afternoon so that we can move this game to week 0 when we're exactly excited to watch it?
Which game?
This one, Georgia State.
Well, you wouldn't be able to move the Georgia State game, but what you could have done was you could have moved the Grambling game up. And I know that it requires some logistical planning, but I'm just for keeping the non-conference games up at the front. And if you can push a game to week 0, like next year, you could push the Nichols game to week 0. You would have a theoretically a bye later on. I'm just kind of setting this backfire, Matt, for when the Southeastern Conference finally gets off the dime and decides how the long-term scheduling is going to go, because I would like to see this essentially throwaway week in the Southeastern Conference in November go by the wayside. And if you want to give me a non-conference game that's this lopsided, give it to me in September or give it to me in August, really. I would.
Today is an atrocity.
Yes.
It sucks. There's no other way to say it. It's the penultimate weekend of the college football season. You got conference races and real things on the line. And 11 of the 14 teams, or I guess I should say, you have 6 SEC teams, 3 conference games this weekend. It is an absolute disaster that Bama's hanging 50 on Chattanooga and LSU is going to play Georgia State. What a disgusting display. And you know what, man? I'm going to go off. Like, I don't know, we don't have forever, but for everyone who yells about college football having the most meaningful, greatest regular season, what a pile of crap. Look at what you have to look at today. It's such a load of garbage that we even play these games. Yeah, it's not the Power Five's job to fund Little Brother's program. I don't need to see Georgia State on LSU's schedule ever. You know what we need? We need to progress toward a college football where every Power 5 team plays only Power 5 teams, and we have games throughout the season that we actually give a damn to see. This is a pile of crap. It's nothing more. We got LSU's playing football here in 3 hours, and we're talking about Jaden Daniels. When is Jaden Daniels going to be out of a stat padding game to help his Heisman chances? It's a load of bull. I'm with you, Hanny. Like, God forbid, like, get rid of these games forever. I never want to see an FCS or Group of 5 team on a schedule ever again. I get that that's not a popular opinion for everybody, but I don't give a damn about Georgia State's football program. Not an ounce. If Georgia State football was wiped off the map and they never played football again, not a damn person alive would cry, except for people maybe associated with that university. Get rid of it forever. Give us games we want to see. Give us an expanded playoff. Fix the sport we love. Okay, I'm done.
See, sometimes you just ask a question and you just let it go.
All you have to do is mention the Group of 5 to him. That's it.
That's all you got to do.
And
mention it.
And my thing, and I'm with you, but as long as they're
hey,
on
you see how Cincinnati's doing in the Big 12 this year, Hanny? They're 1-6. Hey, by the way, the other 3 jokers that jumped into the Power 5 this year, they're 2-5 in the league. Don't tell me Little Brother deserves an at-large spot in the playoff or in the New Year's Six. Those teams suck. You suck. You play a full schedule of Power 5 games and then tell me how you do. You're Cincinnati. Oh, yeah, you wanted to be in the playoff a few years ago. How about this, Cincinnati? You play a full Big 12 schedule. The Big 12 sucks, by the way. You're 1-6 in your league this year. Kick rocks, losers.
I was just going to move it to week 0.
All right. And they ain't moving the game to week. I asked Bergs that after they lost to Florida State. He said they're not moving to week 0.
Yeah, I asked him too, and he's yet to come up with a good reason why. Other than
you know what he told me? Win the damn game. That's what he told me. Win the damn game.
Yeah, well, they've lost 4 of them now. So
I'm with you.
How many more you want to lose? Okay.
I'm with you. If you have the opportunity to do something that's going to benefit your team, use it. Use the tool that benefits your team. I'm with you.
Yeah, you take the bye week in November.
There you go.
For a moment here, okay. If they had done that, okay, and if they were actually playing in the SEC championship game like they were last week, a bye in the 2nd week or 3rd week in November would be like gold. It would be like a blessing from above to be able to get that before you played your last game against A&M and then the SEC championship game. But instead, you stick this game in, and nobody likes this. Nobody liked this. Quit forcing this down your fan base's throats and try. Look, I get it. You got to play these games to make the budget work. I understand that, but you can shuffle the deck chairs here. Okay, move one of these things to weeks. Listen. As much as I don't want to watch LSU play Georgia State, I would watch it with, both eyes glued to the television if it was the last week in August. You put this game in week 0, I'll be interested. After a summer's worth of, nothing, you put that game there. what the COVID year, we watched Arkansas
Pine Bluff. It was Arkansas.
No. The purple team, Missouri State, Missouri, whatever.
I thought it was Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Missouri. Who was it? I forgot. Whatever game it was, we thought it was the best thing.
No, it was Central Arkansas.
Central Arkansas. Yeah, we loved them. I was like, man, put that on TV. It's wonderful. I'll watch it. Timing's everything, man. You know that. Speaking
Andy,
of,
you don't have to do it to make the budget work, because you're going to make money either way. You don't have to play these games to make the budget work. You know what would be better for the budget? Schedule a bunch of Power 5 teams.
Yeah, play another Southeastern Conference games. Talk to the suits at ESPN who are writing the check. All right, after the game, you and T-Bob, whiskey and wine. He's going to probably have plenty of whiskey since he's going to lose interest in this game pretty early.
Yeah, he's going to drink mezcal, and I'll find something to yell about.
All right. Thanks a lot, Matt. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, bye, guys.
We will take a break. Georgia score again, I think.
They did. It's 24-7.
24-7. So Tennessee scores on the first play of the game, and it's been all Georgia ever since. We'll take a break here at Rouse's. Our LeBeige countdown to kickoff about 3 hours and 10 minutes. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
98.1. The Dependable Storage College Football Scoreboard. Dependable Storage. Let us store your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
In Knoxville, 30 seconds to go to the break. Georgia leads Tennessee 24-7. A 75-yard touchdown run on the first play from scrimmage for Tennessee, but it has been all dogs ever since. Games in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville State leads Louisiana Tech 56-17. It's going to put the capper on a pretty miserable season up in Ruston. They're going to finish 3-9. Middle Tennessee leads UTEP 30. Rice leads Charlotte 21-7. Appalachian State still hanging on to the lead against James Madison, 17-12 now. The Duke's got a touchdown back, but App State with a drive going. 8 minutes to go in regulation there. Ball State leads Kent State 34-3. This game has just gone final. Wyoming beat Hawaii 42-9. Where'd my scoreboard go? Ball State leading Kent State 34-3. At the end of 3, number 17 Arizona leading number 22 Utah 28-10. In the third quarter, West Virginia leads Cincinnati 35-7. It's Virginia leading Duke 17-10. Temple leading UAB 14-10. And Colorado State leading Nevada 23-13. Halftime scores: North Texas and Tulsa tied at 21. Arkansas State leads Texas State 35-17. Minute to go to the break. Illinois leads number 16 Iowa 10-9. This is an explosion of points in an Iowa game. Halftime score: number 19 Notre Dame leads Wake Forest 17-7. Late second quarter, Clemson and North Carolina are tied at 7. Western Kentucky leads Sam Houston 21-13. UCLA leads USC 14-7. They got about 4 minutes to go to the break in Los Angeles. NC State leading Virginia Tech 21-7. That game has gone to the half, as has TCU and Baylor. Horned Frogs lead it 14-10. Second quarter scores: Troy leads UL Lafayette 17-10. Air Force, minus their starting quarterback and a couple of other key players, lead UNLV 24-14. Number 2 Ohio State leading Minnesota 10-0. That game is early in the second quarter. Also in the second quarter in Tempe, number 6 Oregon leads Arizona State 21-0. Those that were hoping for a subpar performance from Bo Nix, which is pretty much everybody that's listening here, not getting it. Nix has thrown for 187 yards and 3 touchdowns in a little over a quarter of play. Houston leading number 23.
He just threw another one.
Thank you. 4 touchdown passes now.
232 through the air.
Houston leading number 23 Oklahoma State 14-9. New Mexico State leading Auburn 7-0. That game is midway through the second quarter on the Plains. Earlier finals today. Number 3 Michigan beat Maryland 31-24. Maryland had the ball either 5 points down or 7 points down twice in the last 6 minutes, but not able to put together a drive. Number 8 Alabama beat Chattanooga 66-10. Matt Moscona was intensely watching this game as Jalen Milroe threw 3 touchdown passes before he had a seat. Number 10 Louisville beat Miami 38-31. Canes actually complete the Hail Mary on the last play of the game, but short of the end zone off of the tip. He got it to the end zone, but it was tipped back to about the 4 or 5 yard line, and Louisville was able to make the tackle. Cardinals go to 10-1. Number 12 Penn State beat Rutgers 27-6. Number 13 Ole Miss beat UL Monroe 35-3. Number 14 Oklahoma beat BYU 31-24. Number 24 Tulane beat Florida Atlantic 24-8. Tulane at 7-0 in the American and 10-1 overall. Army has won 3 or 4 since leaving Baton Rouge. They beat Coastal Carolina today 28-21. Michigan State beat Indiana 24-21. Mississippi State over Southern Miss 41-20. Northwestern gets bowl eligible. What a job this was.
That's incredible.
Musso. They fired their coach Pat Fitzgerald on, let me see, it was July the 14th, I believe. And they gave this guy David Braun the job and basically was like, here, do with it what you will. A first-year coach at Northwestern has not won more than 5 games in 120 years.
Wow.
Is what this guy has done.
Wow.
That was Walter McCormack. You remember Walter, right?
Yeah, good friends with him, actually.
Passed on, yeah. But so Northwestern not only wins the most games for a first-year coach who gets shoved in there in the middle of the summer in a hazing scandal. Not only does he get them to the most wins a first-year coach has had in over a century, he's got them in a bowl game. I should get some votes for Coach of the Year. A&M beat Abilene Christian 38-10. UConn over Sacred Heart 31-3. Navy shut out East Carolina 10-0. SMU beat Memphis 38-34. And by the way, that puts SMU at 7-0 in the American. The American championship game is set. Tulane and SMU. And Liberty beat UMass 49-25. And Liberty goes to 11-0. And that is your college football scoreboard. We're here at Rouse's. All of your tailgating stuff available here at Rouse's, and all of your Thanksgiving items. all of your meats, all of your sides, all of your drinks, your wine, your beer, your spirits. Huge selection here at Rouse's, the only place you'll have to go to prepare for your Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday as we celebrate Musso's birthday. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Sean Elliott, Georgia State head coach. That's next, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Opposing Media. Presented by Rev. Fiber fast internet made in Louisiana.
LSU and Georgia State, their head coach Sean Elliott's in his 7th season. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Coach, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
And I'm doing awesome. This is for your team, going to be their first time in Tiger Stadium. For you, not so much. You were here in 2008 with Appalachian State. You were here in 2015 in what ended up being Coach Spurrier's final game at South Carolina. Neither one went great for your guys. You got any fond memories of coming down to Baton Rouge?
Yeah, my first time was there was 2005 against LSU. It was real similar to this time of the year, or a little close. I think we played them late November, and that was our first national championship at App State. And I think we played them, if I remember correctly. I think it was a really close ball game there. Right. Going into the fourth quarter, it was like 7-0. I think they ended up winning 24-10 or 21-7, if I can remember correctly. But that was a great experience that night. And then I was at South Carolina in 2012 when we came down there and we lost 23-21. I think we were both top 5 ranked, and those were good matchups. And then we actually played a 10 o'clock game down there in 2008 because of a hurricane, and that was just very unusual. So, I haven't got a win there in Tiger Stadium, but looking forward to coming back.
What are you going to tell your players? This is the first Power 5 road game for your team this year. What do you can tell your players about the environment and the challenge of coming to Baton Rouge to play LSU?
Well, the challenge is just like you talk about every single week. You got to go out there and you got to execute well. You got to understand, hey, there's going to be a lot of doggone fans in that stadium that are pulling for the home team, and it's going to be a great experience. But you're going to have to, really focus and keep that really out of your mind and focus on the task at hand and going out and trying to play a really good, clean ball game against a well-coached group like the LSU Tigers.
When Sean Elliott's our guest, and Coach, I heard you earlier this week at your media availability talk about how excited you were to be able to come play this game in Baton Rouge. I think a lot of coaches look at these challenges differently. Like some coaches look at it to say, my primary focus is I'm trying to get to bowl eligibility. My primary focus is to win my conference. It sounded different from you when I heard you say that earlier this week. Could you elaborate a little bit on why you're excited for the challenge to bring your team into Baton Rouge?
Well, I think it's one of the more unique places to play in all of college football. I think the tradition, the pageantry that LSU has, and everything that comes along with it is just, I think it's magic. I really do. I really enjoyed it. All the times that I've been down there, I think it's an awesome place to play. I think the fans are incredible. And I just think the experience is something that everybody, whether you play the game of college football or you're a fan of college football, needs to experience. And that's what I'm really excited about. And then we get a chance to go out and play a really good football team, probably one of the best players in all of the country. And I think that challenge in itself is worth the trip. I mean, when you get to go and match up with a guy like your quarterback's got down there, and I think that's exciting times. I think anybody that's a competitor wants to go down there and wants to challenge that and wants to see what happens.
How do you try to put together a game plan to defend against Jaden Daniels, who's, you said, he's been electric. He's kind of been unstoppable all year. So if you can't stop him, how do you start to put together a plan to try to slow him?
Listen, I don't think you can. I mean, you honestly, he's going to get his regardless. He's that special of an athlete. You try to keep everything in front of you right there and limit the explosive plays for him is what you try to limit. Can we do that? I to be honest with you, it's going to be a tall task. We're going to give everything we got. We've got nothing to lose coming down here and going down there and playing Saturday night at 8 o'clock. So we'll give them everything we got. We'll throw everything we can. We'll try to slow that guy down and see what happens.
But your team is averaging close to 30 a game.
Yeah.
It's been a tough 3-game skid here, which we'll get to that in a second. But it's also no secret, Coach, that LSU's defense, I mean, you've seen plenty of LSU defenses, your time in South Carolina. This doesn't look like an LSU defense. So what opportunities are there for your offense maybe to get rolling again this week?
Well, I think, first of all, we've got to get our confidence back. And I know this is going to be a tough place to go play to build a confidence back in the offense. It's kind of lost it the last couple of weeks. But we've got a talented quarterback. We've got really good skill position players. We got, I think, our tailback's the third leading rusher in the country. And we're going to come after them. I mean, we're not going down. Listen, this ain't a check game. A lot of these teams go down here, and this time of the year, they go and they collect their check. Hell, we're coming down here to play a damn football game. We're going to doggone strap it up. We're going to hit them as hard as we can. We're going to block. We're going to tackle. We're going to try to execute them. We're going to try to outsmart them. I think that's where we can equalize this thing. Play smart and efficient offense, defense, and special teams, and try to go see what can happen.
It's worth noting that when you say it's not a check game, you were part of the greatest example of that in college football history when App State won at the Big House. You were an assistant on that team. You reference that with your guys ever?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tell them point blank, I scheduled this game. No one came to me and said, hey, let's go play LSU. I mean, there was an opportunity there, and I said, we're going to play LSU. Get it done. I want challenges. In your life, you want to have challenges in your life. They're not always going to be successful, but when you go and you push the envelope and you challenge yourself in your football team, whether it's in life or on the football field, then you're going to be better because of it. And I think this is a great challenge for our football program. It's something that I wanted our guys to experience, and I wanted the opportunity to go play.
Panthers are 6-1 before the 3-game skid. Coach, what has gone wrong primarily I guess on both sides of the ball here over this 3-game skid for your guys?
Yeah, we were playing really good ball right there at midway through the season. We were 6-1, and we just defeated Louisiana. But in the second half of the Louisiana game, we kind of faltered. Our defense really played pretty well in the second half. We had to make a game-winning interception to win that ball game. There was something that kind of changed right there. We had a guy and a quarterback that took a little hit right there before the second half. And for whatever reason, I personally, I think possibly it's affected us. He's the barometer of our football team. I mean, how he goes is how we go. And we got to get him back where he's on fire. He has that fever to play, and it's not like he's lost it. He's just in that little rut that we got to find it. And what a great opportunity to go out here and be successful. I think we play on ESPN 2 right there at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock your time, and I think that is one hell of an opportunity to find that fever.
Coach, I got two more things for you. Sean Elliott's our guest, Georgia State head coach, number one. In your 4 trips to Baton Rouge, did anybody treat you well? Like, do you have any good memories, or were you tiger baited the whole time? And the stories we always hear about buses rocking and things being thrown at the visiting team?
Well, let me tell you, in 2015, when I was at South Carolina, we were actually scheduled to play a home game in Columbia that year. And because we'd had some real serious flooding in Columbia, it displaced our football program, displaced me and my family and our home, and we had to move our home game there at South Carolina to Baton Rouge. And to be honest with you, the experience we had that day, that they turned Tiger Stadium and really into our home game. And it was really strange, but we went down there, they embraced us, they took us in, and I don't want to say they made us feel at home, but I don't think there was any fingers being thrown up at us or anybody throwing anything at us. It was a great game, and that experience really stood out.
I remember when that was when Leonard Fournette had his great season and auctioned off his jersey for flood relief as well. It was a great thing.
That is exactly right. He sure did, and I think he ran over us for about 250 yards.
He did that to everybody that year, at least for the first 2 months of the season. All right, I got to ask, because anytime I ever have a chance to talk to anybody about the 07 Michigan App State game, I have to ask. Through your eyes, I would love to know, like, when I mention that game, just boom, the first thing that comes to mind. We all have the image, right, of the blocked field goal attempt, and we can hear the call. You know, Appalachian, have beaten the Michigan Wolverines. For as long as you're blessed to live life, and someone brings up that game, boom, what's the first thing that you're going to mention?
The first thing I mentioned is that we knew we could win, and that may sound crazy, but we were a talented football team. We had just won 2 previous national championships. We had a dynamic quarterback. We had unbelievable speed at the wide receiver. And we knew going in, when we watched them defensively, we knew we were going to take advantage of our speed. They just didn't have that speed. They had the size, but they didn't have the speeds from us. And I remember sitting in our meeting room, and we only watched them for about 10 days prior. And we all were like, hey, we can go run with these guys.
What a day that was. One that every college football fan will remember forever. Coach, I hope there's not another one of those Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, selfishly. But
I can tell you what, if there is, I'm going to find you, and we're going to sit down. We're going to reminisce about that game and Michigan and all these other games. We're going to have a cold beer, too. How about that?
I'll let you buy. How about
I'll definitely buy.
I bet you would. Coach, it's a pleasure. Thanks so much for a couple of minutes today.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Running Bart's marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Talkin' Tigers. Presented by TRICARE. TRICARE. For all your gas or diesel vehicles needs, take it to TRICARE. Talkin' Tigers. Wide receiver Malik Neighbors.
Especially, after seeing Jamar win that, his last season here. It was always a receiver goal when I came to LSU to also win the Blender Cup.
Defensive lineman Braden Swinson.
We always look for room to improve, We always look somewhere where we can grow in every area. If it's in the run game, if it's in the passing game, it's whatever area we need work on that we able to spot out. That's really what we mainly focus on. We don't really focus on just one half of football.
Offensive lineman Charles Turner.
It's definitely heightened our senses. Made us more aware of how good we are. But Coach Kelly and Coach Davis and Coach Denbrock, they always preach to us that good is not where we want to be. We want to be elite. So until those awards come out or whatever, we just trying to work our hardest every single day to become more elite at what we do.
Defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson.
Jaden makes his reads, goes to his progression. If it's not there, or he sees we leave a void open in the rush lane, something like that, he hits it. He takes off and you're not catching him. So it's good practice for him and for us for his pursuit to the ball and rush lane, stuff like that.
Wide receiver Malik Neighbors.
I started hearing about the Josh Reed after probably a couple months ago. They said I was catching up to him. I never really knew all the accolades or all the numbers that he had, but there was a lot of people that was, telling me that I was moving up closely on him.
Defensive lineman Braden Swinson.
The major thing on the defense is about, honing in on our 111, chasing improvement every day. We chasing being elite. So, to be elite is not coming easy. There's going to be some days you don't feel like coming in, that you don't really want to do that much, but, at the same time, we're chasing to being elite. So that's really our main focus right now, honestly.
Offensive lineman Charles Turner.
It's been an amazing amount of talent that I've got a chance to see and witness and be a part of. 2019 we had Joe Burrow, Jamar, Justin. 2023 we got BT, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels, and all those guys are electric. So it's just what is to come at LSU. This is what you expect being here. So it's definitely been a fun ride.
Defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson.
We want to finish the best we can. The fact that we had 2 games, that doesn't really change. That doesn't change our approach. We double down on our process, lock in, because everybody been asking what do you have to play for? We have a lot to play for, and we got this thing in the D-line room where coach always says focus on the journey, not the destination. And obviously the destination is Saturday, but we still journey every day, practicing our best, getting better, focusing on the little things, to give us that edge and stuff like that. Just focusing on where we're trying to get to at the end of the season.
Wide receiver Malik Neighbors.
I would say more explosive. My run after the catch has improved. My sophomore year I got way faster. This year I said I was going to be more explosive, and I think I accomplished that. Just me leading, my other receivers out there. Me and BT always being, those 2 men that lead that group to, a successful Saturday.
Defensive lineman Braden Swinson.
I ain't never seen nothing like it. With Jaden, Malik, Brian, all those guys, I never seen something so elite like that. Jaden is playing different type of football right now. That's a different level of football right now. If he's not Heisman, I don't know. Because what I'm seeing, it's insane. I ain't never seen nobody just run all over and just throw all over like that. Like, it's crazy. I love watching them play. I love watching Malik play as well, too. He's exciting to play.
Offensive lineman Charles Turner.
To me, I think, like I said, I'm not trying to focus on the awards and stuff right now. We're just trying to, finish out the season strong and do what we can do. But in my eyes, I don't think there's a better player in the country than Jaden Daniels.
Defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson.
Some of the craziest that I've ever seen, Jaden's, he's just a gifted player, like God-given, and it's exciting to watch him and Malik and Brian, all those boys do what they do on Saturdays. It's real exciting to see.
Wide receiver Malik Neighbors.
It's amazing seeing him, pass the ball, run the ball, lead the team out there, to a victory. So just seeing his growth that he came from, from Arizona to here, him being a leader, him working, all his accomplishments it's been fun to see.
Talking Tigers, Eagle 98.1, Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Keys to the B. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill.
And we're back here at Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day. We bring in Richard Dixon, who will be with us on Postgame as well. Richard, good afternoon. How are you?
Doing good, man. How y'all doing?
Doing fantastic. All right. As an ex-player, these non-conference games this late in the season, you just kind of give me the mood of the team that you've been playing in SEC games. I guess this year was a little bit of a double unusual because there was a non-conference game in October, which almost never happens. But trying to keep your focus on a non-conference game this late in the year.
It's all about finding something different to keep your mind on. Like, I think this team, for instance, they're trying to go do it for Jaden Daniels. That's the biggest thing this team has to play for. It's the next biggest thing to a national championship is having to play with a Heisman. There's very few people in the world that get to be able to play with that. And this team, that's all their focus right now, finishing out the season for Jaden.
So what does that feel like? I mean, what does that sound like? I mean, you're concentrating on your excitement. You want to win, but you're in this for your teammates. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my mind around a team being focused on that, because I think you're right.
No, I mean, to me, it's no different. Like at the beginning of the season, you have a SEC championship, national championship. Those are the goals. That's where your mindset is. Those things are no longer existent. That's not something that's possible for this team. So you look for the next best thing that you can motivate yourself for. And right now it's a 10-win season and a Heisman.
The 10-win season is something that Brian Kelly brings up a lot. We talked on the podcast and the Daily Show about culture. Last week I thought LSU did a really good job of saying, listen, or showing they haven't packed it in, even though they're not going to go to the SEC championship game. It looked like, to me, Richard, a pretty focused effort last week.
There's no doubt. I mean, every sign that I've seen, every question that I've had, it's been answered. Brian Kelly is building a culture in this program. He's building a unit that everybody's going to fight for each other. And I think that's what we were looking for last week. I think everybody fought their butts off, played hard, and it's something that's going to continue going. And like I said, 10 wins is big. Now, there's not a lot of 10-win teams every year. I mean, it used to be a big deal. I think when I was playing, there was like 4 or 5 10-win seasons. It was trying a record to keep going. And it's something tough to do. And once all your goals are gone, you start focusing on, goal number 4, goal number 5.
What do you see in games like this from your opposition? A lot of these guys, maybe you played against them somewhere along the line in high school or in an all-star game or something, but most of these kids were not, able to take a Southeastern Conference scholarship. What do you usually see on the other side?
You see 120% effort. I mean, the one thing about, like, when we're talking about keeping these guys focused, these guys on smaller programs like that, these are the games that they look up to. These are their bowl games. These are their championship games. They want to come to Tiger Stadium and play. They want to have a big game in Death Valley. So you also got to know that, these guys are coming in with 110% effort, and you don't have any time. Honestly, you got to put them in their place quick.
Richard, I'm glad to hear you in such good spirits today and doing so well, because I know that yesterday you had to take your kids to see the Troll movie. And on opening day, and I knew that you were going to be in a theater with about 100 little kids. So it seems like you came out on the other side pretty well, right?
Well, I slept till 9 o'clock this morning. I had a few drinks last night.
After the
pretty
movie,
stressed out. Yeah, it was about the most stressful part of this football season I've had so far. But sounds like the kids enjoyed it.
Well, hey, listen. You played the national championship game in the Superdome against Ohio State. More stress, the Buckeyes or the kids and the Trolls?
Oh, I'm going with the kids and the Trolls, no doubt. None of them had to go to the bathroom at the same time. I think I caught 10 minutes of the movie.
Wow. All right, Rich, take care, man. We'll see you in postgame.
All right, man.
Yeah, yesterday was Richard's birthday, and he
Okay.
so we asked, what are you doing for your birthday? So I'm taking my kids to see the Troll movie. It's coming out, the opening day of the Troll movie.
That's fatherhood
yeah,
right
that's,
there, isn't it? Yeah. What are you doing for your birthday?
Man's got a lot of courage. Good dad. We're brought to you by AJ Sports Cards, located off Drusilla. Open 9 to 6 Monday, 9:30 to 6 Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 9:30 until 2. Football, baseball, basketball cards, also a large selection of Pokemon cards. For you collectors, all the supplies that you need, like cases and sleeves. And right now, the Topps buyback program going on at AJ Sports Cards. The Topps Chrome MVP buyback program is going on right now. So if you've got base refractors or non-refractors, you can get them in there right now and get store credit. The refractors, if they got less than 100 or more than 100 copies, they go for $100 in store credit. The ones with less than 100 copies go for $200 in store credit. That's based on the rarity. The refractor cards, they've got a reflective coating. You display, it looks like kind of like a rainbow when you tilt them a little bit. That's all at AJ Sports Cards, just off of Drusilla. Again, open Monday through Friday, 9:30 until 6, and Saturdays from 9:30 until 2. We'll take a break. We'll come back, talk to the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, when we return. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. a poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Inside the stadium. Inside the stadium. Presented by K to Z Window Coverings. K to Z Blinds.com, where style meets functionality, both inside and out.
Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, Charlie. Hope you guys doing well.
We are. You know, LSU's a huge favorite tonight. I don't know if Brian Kelly spends any of his pregame time scoreboard watching. Probably not, but maybe somebody's brought it to his attention today that Texas A&M led Abilene Christian 17-10 at the half. Mississippi State led Southern Miss 16-7 at the half. Ole Miss led UL Monroe 7-3 at the half. And now we're seeing that New Mexico State has the lead on Auburn 10-7 at the half. Much better to do what Alabama did today, which is come out and put 3 touchdowns up on the board in the first quarter and put the game in their back pocket. I don't know if Coach Kelly's using those other examples today, but that's what's been going on non-conference Saturday.
You know, something would tell me, Charlie, that he's probably not sitting back watching those games, but I got to believe somebody within the organization probably floated that information to him at some point, and that's really been the big concern. You know, I talked to him Thursday, and I said, Coach, you come off that Alabama loss, and you got Florida coming in, a team that had their backs to the wall. It's Florida, it's LSU. You know, it was a challenge, I'm sure, to keep everybody focused, get their feet back on the ground, and go through the process. And he really complimented his team on doing just that en route to, you know, the 52-35 win. I asked him the same question for opposite reasons this week after you come off a record-setting performance and, you know, the media swirling around all the records that Jaden said and the job that Malik and Brian Thomas did. And, you know, now you're taking on a Georgia State team that, you know, over the last 3 games has given up 43 points on defense. not the best Georgia State team in their short history of football. And he said, frankly, that Tuesday was not a very good day, pretty flat day at practice. He was not pleased at all. Good news was they got a little better on Wednesday and much better on Thursday. So I know that's on his mind, whether or not he knows those individual scores you speak of or not.
Well, I got to be honest, Chris, and this is just between me and you. Don't tell anybody. I didn't watch those games either. I just saw the scores. I didn't want to watch those games either.
Hey, I'll tell you this, Charlie. Truth disclosed, I've been watching the Appalachian State James Madison game all afternoon, just simply because I wanted to shut James Madison up.
Well, did they scored, right?
23-20
they're up in the overtime, I believe. They
23-28. 23-20, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see who gets there with those guys. Balancing a Heisman Trophy candidate, a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate late in the season, while you're still obvious to your team goals. He talked about that a little bit this week. He's not ignoring the fact that Jaden Daniels has got a legitimate chance to win the Heisman Trophy, but he's got an entire team to coach. And, I thought, Chris, that he went into some detail about trying to balance that this week, a unique position for him in his career.
Yeah, I go back to the benefit, I think, Charlie, of 3 decades as a head coach, because he said, to be honest with you guys, in the past, I didn't take it upon myself to do so. Now, he was short, I thought, of saying I thought it was a mistake, but I think what he was saying was now he understands what it means, not only to that individual player, certainly, but also to the program, the long term, the recruiting, all that goes into it. So I think he's bought into the campaigning, quote unquote, if you will, as Scott Rideaway asked him with his political background. And I think he admitted that, yes, he's all for in campaigning for players who are up for these, huge national awards. But I think, again, it goes back to your point earlier that there are still things you have to set. And, again, having a Heisman Trophy winner and a Biletnikoff winner would certainly go far for recruiting. And he's always looking at what the long-term effect on the program is, in a sense of still building this program. Yeah, it's great for Jaden Daniels. I mean, no question about it. His transformation and development since arriving here has been through the roof. And I think he's proud of that, and I think he's proud of the work Jaden did. So I think that's why he's willing now to be a part of these campaigns, while at the same time understanding the bigger picture of, yes, it's great for Jaden, but it's great for LSU, it's great for our program. And by the way, this is year number 2. And just an update, App State just knocked off James Madison, so they can forget about arguing about the rule change anymore.
There you go. Wow, bummer. Gameday went there and everything. I thought that they would win, but they
Gameday curse.
Hey, that's a real thing too. Chris, when you were at Georgia Southern, you called one of the biggest upsets in Southeastern Conference history when Georgia Southern went into the swamp and beat Florida. I'm wondering if you saw some telltale signs that week or anything leading up to the game or before the game. Could you in any way see that kind? I know this is a completely different situation other than the fact that the SEC team's a huge favorite here, but any telltale signs you think back to from that game?
Well, real quick, the play is under review, Charlie, so hold the phone. I don't know if they scored or not. But anyhow, to answer your question, the difference, I think, and I think this is what Coach Kelly alluded to, Georgia State got off to a 4-0 start. They eventually went 6-1. They were one of the first teams, certainly in the Sun Belt in the group of 5, along with James Madison, who is, again, bowl uneligible, to be bowl eligible. So, they've started football in 2010. They've been to 5 bowl games. And they're eligible to go to their 6th. So that's off the table now. And, again, they've been throttled their last 3 games, but they truly have house money. It's not as if they're coming to Baton Rouge to take on the number 15 Tigers in hopes of, just 2 games remaining, get bowl eligible. So they literally can just come in and let it all hang out. And, I think that's what that's most of the mentality when you get these type of matchups to begin with. I mean, that's what, Coach Munkin at Georgia Southern at the time, he was like, guys, we're not supposed to win. We're supposed to go get a check, come home. Let's just go out there and have fun. So I know that's what Sean Elliott is telling his team this week. And the fact that they still have in their back pocket an expected bowl invite, for which that program is a huge deal. They're out of contention for a Sun Belt crown, so that's gone. So, a lot of the pressure that you typically would have, you don't have. And I think it also helps, and I'll say this, Charlie, to have these matchups later in the season as opposed to the beginning of the season. And I can remember hearing Georgia Southern coaches, 3 of them that I worked for, talk about how it's much better to have these games later in the season than in the beginning, because even though these big-time programs aren't going to take you all that seriously, that is what they're totally concentrating on in the first game of the year. So when you stick this game in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th week of the year, it's really hard to get those Power 5 teams locked in and focused. I saw it when Georgia Southern ran up and down on Alabama several years ago. I saw it in that Florida game, and we've seen it time and time again over the last couple of years. And by the way, the play did stand. It's a touchdown. Athletes Jay.
All right. Chris, what's coming up as we hand the baton at the top of the hour to you guys at the network?
Well, I think that they're going to try to dig once again to find out about this Georgia State team. And, one of the things Hunt talked about this week on a show, which I think he'll probably concentrate on as well, is you take some of these individual skill players, you can't overlook some of the guys for Georgia State. And it really starts with their running back, Marcus Carroll, who's 3rd in the FBS in rushing yards with, nearly 1,300 yards rushing. He by himself is a very talented guy. Their receivers are talented as well on the outside. Darren Granger's a dual-threat quarterback, so you'll see him look for Robert Lewis down the field, but also if things break down, he will run. And I know Hunt's going to try to break all that down. We'll learn a little bit about the history of Georgia State, and then we'll just get ready for kickoff and see, again, much like the Army game, I think that Jaden Daniels will be on a yard count, so to speak, and hopefully he can have one of those great first halves, first quarters, and then he'll get to sit on the sideline and root on his teammates for the second half.
Yeah, we're pulling for that. We got to do one more scoreboard before we hand it over. I'm just going to tell you right now, the news out of Tempe ain't good because Bo Nix is lighting it up out there against Arizona State. So we're gonna have to pull for Oregon State next week against Oregon, I believe. Chris, you guys.
I do this. If I'm Jaden, throw it down the field 30 yards instead of a 6-yard, 10-yard pass. Just light them up. Make sure it looks good when you're throwing it deep down the field.
He's done plenty of that this year. That's for sure. Chris, we appreciate it. Have a good call, and we'll have a happy Thanksgiving as well. And we'll talk to you next week.
Same to you.
All right, we'll take a break, come back with our final scoreboard here at Rouse's, corner of Burbank and Lee. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
Eagle 98.1. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln, on airline into the giant American flag.
In Knoxville, Georgia, touchdown here in the third quarter. They now lead Tennessee 31-10. About 8 minutes to go in the third quarter there. Tennessee scored on a 75-yard run to open the ball game, but it has been all Georgia since. Games in the fourth quarter, under a minute. Number 17, Arizona, leading number 22, Utah, 35-16. Arizona going to go to 8-3 on the season, and Utah will fall to 7-4. Under 2 minutes to go. West Virginia finishing off Cincinnati, 42-21 is the score there. Earlier in the fourth quarter, Virginia leads Duke 27-19, 9 minutes to go there. North Texas leading Tulsa 35-21 early in the fourth quarter. Also early in the fourth quarter, Temple and UAB tied at 24, and Colorado State leading Nevada 30-20. About 6 minutes to go there. Third quarter scores: Arkansas State leading Texas State 56-17. It's Illinois leading number 16 Iowa 10-9. Number 19 Notre Dame pounding Wake Forest 31-7. That is late in the third quarter. Sam Hartman has thrown 3 touchdown passes. Just starting the second half at Clemson, Tigers lead North Carolina 14-7. Sam Houston leading Western Kentucky 23-21. They've just started the third quarter at the Coliseum. UCLA leads USC 14-10. NC State leads Virginia Tech 35-14. That is late in the third quarter. TCU leads Baylor 28-17 in the third. Also in the third, UL Lafayette and Troy tied at 17. UNLV and Air Force tied at 27. Number 2, Ohio State leading Minnesota 27-0. That game is early in the third quarter. Kyle McCord just threw a touchdown pass. Here's the tough news. Halftime in Tempe. Number 6 Oregon leads Arizona State 42-0. Bo Nix threw for 381 yards and 6 touchdowns in the first half.
That sucks.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
That sucks.
That is not going to help anything at all. Houston leading number 23 Oklahoma State 23-19. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. New Mexico State leading Auburn 10-7, and they have the ball inside the Tiger 20-yard line, so potential upset brewing on the Plains. UCF leading Texas Tech 14-0. That is just starting the second quarter. Also in the second quarter, South Alabama leading Marshall 14-0. Earlier finals today, Chris Blair just told you, Appalachian State beats James Madison 26-23 in overtime, Duke's first loss of the season. That West Virginia game is going final now, 42-21 over Cincinnati. Number 3, Michigan held on against Maryland 31-24. Terps had 2 chances late to drive the length of the field and score to either tie or take the lead. Could not get it done. Talia Tagovailoa threw 2 interceptions. Number 8, Alabama beat Chattanooga 66-10. 3 touchdown passes for Jalen Milroe. Number 10, Louisville survived Miami 38-31. Canes complete a Hail Mary on the last play of the game, but short of the end zone on the tip. Number 12, Penn State beat Rutgers 27-6. It was number 13, Ole Miss over UL Monroe 35-3. Jackson Dart threw 3 touchdown passes to break open a close game in the second half. Number 14, Oklahoma goes to 9-2. They beat BYU 31-24. Dylan Gabriel, a couple of touchdown tosses. Number 24, Tulane beat Florida Atlantic 24-8. 3 touchdown passes for Michael Pratt. Army has won 3 of 4 since leaving Baton Rouge. They beat Coastal Carolina 28-21. Michigan State over Indiana 24-21. Mississippi State beat Southern Miss 41-20. They pull an upset in the Egg Bowl. They're bowl eligible, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen.
Probably not. Northwestern beat Purdue 23-15, and they get bowl eligible in one of the best coaching coaching jobs of the season up at Northwestern. Texas A&M beat Abilene Christian 38-10. It was UConn over Sacred Heart 31-3. Navy beat East Carolina 10-0. SMU stays unbeaten in the American. They beat Memphis 38-34 on the road. Liberty goes to 11-0 with a 49-25 victory over UMass. And Jacksonville State ends Louisiana Tech season. They win 56-17. La Tech finishes 3-9. Middle Tennessee beat UTEP 34-30. It was Rice over Charlotte 28-7. Ball State beat Kent State 34-3, and Wyoming beat Hawaii 42-9 at War Memorial Stadium in Laramie. And that is your college football scoreboard. Back to wrap things up here at Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day, wrapping up here at Rouse's on our Burbank and Lee. All of your Thanksgiving supplies right here. You get ready for the holiday with the meat section, the rice section, the spirits, the wine, the beer. Listen, if you can't find it, they ain't got it. It doesn't exist, because if you need it for Thanksgiving, you can get it here at Rouse's, corner of Burbank and Lee. Musso, some final thoughts on LSU and Georgia State?
Yeah, sure. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Get everybody their numbers.
Yeah.
Win.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Right. Listen, you can dress it up any way you want. This is a mismatch.
Yes.
And it not just is it a mismatch in, sizes of, schools or budgets or, conferences or whatever. There's some very good teams that come out of the Sun Belt, and Georgia State's not a bad team, but they are at a such a matchup disadvantage here. This is a defense that's given up 43 points a game the last 3, and against nowhere near a player or players playing at the level that the LSU offense is playing right now. So, listen, there are some times where you're on upset alert. You're always on upset alert, I guess, but this one looks like a particularly bad matchup for the underdog here in Tiger Stadium tonight. And that's why we've sort of we've had a little fun today on the show. We've tackled some different topics.
A lot of Heisman talk.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the Bo Nix news is not good here today.
No,
but,
it's horrible.
You know, Jaden Daniels is going to go out and put his numbers up, and that'll be that.
It was going to be an uphill climb after Alabama. We all knew that.
It was, and it still
not over.
is.
Yeah, he's got a shot.
That's right. It's not. It ain't over.
Yeah,
it ain't
there,
over.
Yeah.
Right. 90 minutes past as LSU and Georgia State. We will be on with Eagle 98.1 Game Day from the studio. Former Tiger Richard Dixon will join me then. From all of us here at Rouse's, everybody back at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for network coverage of the pregame show for LSU and Georgia State on Eagle 98.1.